Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
He was so locked in, it was scary. One of the bright baseball minds that I worked with at the mothership, he's Steve Phillips, host of Leadoff Spot on MLB Network. What is the common ground that will allow us to be able to play baseball?
Prorated salaries at 100% will not get a deal done. The players are going to have to come off of that. And the owners are not going to get a 50-50 share of the losses with the players because they're taking physical risk. That has dollar value that needs to be acknowledged.
I can't wait for that first argument at home plate where the manager is about 6 or 7 feet away from the umpire. And I can't understand sometimes what he's saying.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Made it to a Friday. Got the Traeger all fired up. Some mahi-mahi. Seton McLovin in the Man Cave. Their first Meat Friday, Traeger Meat Friday, in, I don't know, a month or so. Glad to have you guys in. Fritzy joining us via Zoom. Paulie's here as well. The gang's here. And glad you're part of the program. A variety of ways, email, tweet. You can also dial us up. You can watch on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. You know, I was talking to Mario yesterday. He refers to chat row. Yeah, I did. I was talking to Mario. He calls them chat row. And I said that seemed a little bit irresponsible with Mario, calling them instead of chat row. Chat row.
Wow.
Yeah. So Tyler, the moderator, is handling chat row, and the new T-shirt should be coming out soon. Yes. Yeah, Paul.
The irony of Mario shedding the bed with Seton's basketball team last year in the AUAA.
Oh, I know. Do you know they played a pickup game the other day? And Mario had the ball in, we call it Mario's corner because that's where he shot the infamous air ball. And everybody backed away from him. As soon as he got the ball, they let him shoot, and he shot another air ball. It's going to stay with him for a long, long time. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. All right, the big German's back there directing on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. We got Tyler, the moderator. Dylan's in there doing graphics. And, of course, the other backroom guys here making this possible every single morning. 877-3DP-SHOW. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Our Twitter handle is @DPShow. NFL opted not to pass a new rule that would offer an alternative to the onside kick. Teams would get the ball in their own 25, have a 4th and 15. But the owners reportedly split down the middle on this. Steelers owner Art Rooney said it felt too gimmicky. And his argument makes sense. I understand that. The underlying problem is the new rules make the onside kick too hard to convert. The other teams expect it, and so it doesn't work. Of the expected onside kicks that we've had, the last 104, where both teams are acknowledging there's going to be an onside kick, 0 have been converted, the team has gone on to win in 104 of those situations. Now, they've had some teams convert the onside kick. That's very rare. But in those situations, that team has not gone on to win in the last 104 situations. The NFL, we like these wild comebacks, but it's less likely, especially with the NFL. It's a little easier in the college game because the clock stops so often down the stretch. And the league doesn't like kickoffs. You know, they look at the injury risk. It's higher there. I don't know, and I'm sure there's data here. I think the punt return is far more dangerous than an onside kick. Now, we can talk about the kickoff, and yes, it is violent. But as far as an onside kick, I would love to still have that element in the game. I just think it's one of the most exciting plays in the game. When you don't know it's happening, and we've seen it, but I need to have the run up there. If you have it, have the run up there. But I don't know what the data, the analytics are on injuries on onside kicks. I know about the kickoff, and I know about punt returns. Those are dangerous. It is an inherently dangerous game. I know we want to keep extracting danger out of this, but I don't need a gimmick of 4th and 15. How many onside kicks do you have? Plus, I'm putting marquee players back on the field for a play if we're worried about injuries. So now I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be back on the field for a 4th and 15. Everybody knows you're passing, and that means everybody's gearing up to come after the quarterback here. Then there's going to be penalties, pass interference. Like, it feels like we're sort of just shifting this. Hey, but now, granted, there's not going to be the 4th and 15, and the onside kick without any run-up still exists here. But we're going to tweak this eventually. I don't know where we're going with this, but we'll eventually tweak this. And you start to look at what the NFL has done with, certain things like instant replay. Instant replay was killed in 1991. Tested again 5 years later. Voted down in 1997. Brought back in 1999. Now we have coaches awarded a third challenge. Scoring plays automatically reviewed. Delays caused by review steadily decreased here. It's going to take a while. And I think that this was aggressive on the part of the NFL, the competition committee, to say, hey, let's change the onside kick. Let's do this. Okay. They already got stung by last year with the review on pass interference. I just think they're gun shy here. It was not the right time to do this. Now, we might embrace these rules down the road, but it wasn't the right time. I'm not surprised they didn't pass because of the timing aspect of this. Do I think that when they revisit this, maybe 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, we could have a different outcome? But those are just some of the numbers attached to this, but they tabled both of these ideas here. 877-3DP-SHOW, email address dp@danpatrick.com. I saw where Matt LaFleur, he's the Packers head coach, he had a conference call, and he's pushing back against the idea the Packers were looking for a replacement for Aaron Rodgers in the draft. Here is Matt LaFleur talking about the Packers' logic in the draft.
Yeah, you never quite know what to expect. I think in terms of the draft, a lot of people you don't know what you have for a couple of years, usually. Typically, I mean, that's how it goes. And a lot of times it gets heavily criticized but ultimately, he and his staff do a great job of evaluating guys. And it was just an opportunity to go get the guy that we all thought was the best player at the time.
Okay, wait. I asked Marvin, I said, Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, he's singing slightly off time there. I don't know if that was by design. But...
Down with the sickness.
What is it? Is that Wayne's World? Okay.
Trent Reznor's podcast?
I don't know what happened there because all of a sudden we had music in there. I just said to Marvin, who gathers the sound, I said, Marv, Matt LaFleur had a press conference call, and he talked about drafting Jordan Love.
He had it at the studio, though, where they were laying down some tracks.
Okay, let me hear it again.
Yeah, you never quite know what to expect. I think in terms of the draft, a lot of people you don't know what you have for
it's
a couple
more
of
of
years,
a
usually.
like
Typically, I mean, that's
Leonard
how
Cohen
it goes.
spoken word
and a lot
thing.
of times it gets heavily criticized, but ultimately, he and his staff do a great job of evaluating guys, and it was just an opportunity to go get the guy that.
All right. Okay. I didn't hear a word that Matt LaFleur said. I just was listening to the music there. Paulie, could you ask Marvin how we came up with this?
I don't think Marvin added it in. That'd be really weird.
I know, but if he knew it was going to be there, wouldn't he have given me the heads up?
Oh,
hey,
no,
by the way.
That's actually good producing by Marvin. He told us.
No. He's not producing. No. That was unintentional. Yes, McLovin.
So is that where there's a highlight running on or something? So you have to put music when there's a highlight in TV? But this was a radio interview. So why?
Oh, I have no idea what happened there because it's so disconcerting. I don't even know what Matt LaFleur said. Here I was all set for this impactful, I'm going to pile on the Packers here, and then I get dun 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 dun. All right. Well, during the break, I'll ask Marvin, what was he thinking when he heard that? That maybe you should give me a heads up that maybe you don't want to use this?
I think they're onto something.
No. No.
I think so. Paul, you got any thoughts on this?
Like if you were interviewing Rebecca Lowe and we just had this in the background.
Oh, wait, I can't play that then. That would have been inappropriate. Sorry.
Okay. If we have Sam Mellinger on from the...
No,
Hi, Sam.
No. I need like headbanging, not this.
This is the best I could do on short notice.
Yeah, we're talking to Sam Mellinger. He's with Kansas City Star. We'll talk about the Patrick Mahomes contract negotiations here. And yes, Rebecca Lowe will join us on loan from NBCSN. The Premier League is coming back. No, you need headbanging music. No, that's... This program brought to you by Traeger Grills, TraegerGrills.com/DP Show. Today, taste the wood-fired difference. Contact your local dealer. Visit TraegerGrills.com/DP Show today.
Is it getting hot in here, or is that the grill?
Ooh. Rebecca Lowe joining us, final hour. Does Paulie have cologne on? Remember when Paulie wore cologne when Rebecca Lowe came in the studio one time?
I think you're right about that.
It's my natural musk.
You've never had cologne on before.
I don't even think I own cologne.
Well,
I think I borrowed some.
I don't think you're correct about that.
I think we had some of the Tom Brady cologne. Didn't we have Stetson in here? And you might have splashed some on.
I musked up a little bit.
Now, Fritzy has worn cologne before, but he acknowledges that. But it was like Drakkar. But I think that Paulie had cologne on. Rebecca Lowe's not going to join us in studio today via Zoom a little bit later on. All right, so Matt LaFleur was pushing back on the idea that the Packers were looking for Aaron Rodgers' replacement in the draft. Now, the head coach said the Packers ended up with Jordan Love because he was the best player left on their draft board after some of the other players were selected, not because they were specifically ready to move on from Aaron Rodgers. So the coach says it was just one of those situations where there were a couple of guys targeted that had just previously been picked, and Jordan was the next guy on the board, and so we went with the best player at the time. I have a little bit of a problem with this, just a little bit of a problem with this. They traded up in the first round to get Jordan Love. He didn't fall into their lap. Like Russell Wilson fell into Seattle's lap. Dak Prescott fell into the Cowboys' lap. Aaron Rodgers fell into the Packers' lap at the end of the first round. Jordan Love didn't fall into their lap. This is absolutely a preemptive strike. It's one thing to say, boy, oh my God, he's there. Let's take him. And then if you look, Matt LaFleur says, we got to create more explosive plays for our offense this year. Okay, so let me look at what you did to improve the offense this year. You got a backup quarterback, you got a fullback, and an H-back. Yep. Get a load of the new Kansas City Chiefs offense right there. Here's the deal, guys and gals. The Packers knew the Colts were interested in Jordan Love. And that's why they traded up. The only reason why you trade up is you know somebody else wants the person you want. And that's what happened. I'm told by a source that the Colts were going to take Jordan Love. Because they look at Phillip Rivers as certainly 1 year, maybe 2 years, and then that's it. They were looking at long term, and Jordan Love would have fit in there. So they got Aaron Rodgers there. They can say whatever they want, but they were looking for Aaron Rodgers' replacement down the road. Aaron Rodgers has 2 years left, I think, of being on the roster. Now, I know he's got, 4 years on his contract, but it feels like he's got 2 years. And then they're going to move on from him. Maybe 3, but they're moving on from him. But if you're going to take an H-back and you're going to take a fullback, and you had a chance to take a wide receiver like C.D. Lamb, who might give you a few more explosive plays than your fullback and H-back, that might have been the direction that I would have to take there. But Packers are sticking with the script here. I'm not buying the script, but interesting. McLovin, what kind of poll question do you have for me today?
We have lots of different options. We could go NBA, NFL. I kind of disagreed with you guys a little bit pre-show.
Oh.
I think I would have voted yes on the 4th and 15 play.
Okay.
Just because it'd be exciting.
Well, there's a lot of things that are exciting. The kickoff's exciting. The onside kick would be exciting with run-up.
It wasn't that exciting. You guys are making it.
Oh, come on.
Onside kicks, it never really works. Even in the back of the day, it didn't change that many games, did it? 4th and 15 would be a little juicier.
Just the element of surprise that it's there. That's what you want. If I know it's there and you know it's there, it just takes away. Then it's just luck. It's the luck of a bounce.
But they still have some of that. I mean, unexpected kicks still work more. I mean, there's a higher percentage. It's not 4% for that. The unexpected still works sometimes.
But when you realize that some of these owners, one owner in particular, I don't know the name, said it's an unfair advantage for teams who have Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So if you have Breeze, Brady, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, then you throw in Patrick Mahomes, you have an unfair advantage on a 4th and 15. Therefore, we don't want this rule to pass because it gives other teams an unfair advantage. How silly does that sound? How about you get a better quarterback here? Yes, McLovin.
So, but by the way, the onside kick still exists. I mean, I think what you guys are saying is open up the onside kick and change that rule back so guys can run up.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking for, the element of surprise.
Well, why not keep that? And
I don't need the 4th and 15.
And by the way, the element of surprise has nothing to do with the run up. It's still there. I mean, you're just saying the onside kick, the Saints did against in the Super Bowl. That was element of surprise. They could still do that.
But you couldn't do that. No, not the way the Saints did it, because there was run up when they did it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you can still do it. You still have a much better chance, even in the current format, with a totally do it surprise.
I'd like to know the data here of injuries on an onside kick. And look, if there's pushback with that, with the data that says you're crazy if you want to continue this, I'd like to know that, because I know that just look at the punt return, and they can't do anything about that. So we have it, even though they probably would like to take that out of the game as well. The kickoff, they've done their best to take that out of the game as well. I'd just like to know the studies they've done on the onside kick with the run-up of people getting hurt. Because now I'm going to put star players back on the field, or at least that was what they were arguing about, for 4th and 15. So I got guys who are not necessarily star players on the kickoff team on onside kick. Now I'm going to put the marquee guys back on the field. To me, it seems a little hypocritical. Yeah, Paul.
I know safety is important, but shouldn't the competition committee, part of their job be to make the game exciting with rule changes? Look at what they did with the extra point. The extra point used to be a formality that you didn't tune in for. Now there is a much greater chance that an extra point gets missed or blocked because of the angle, because of the distance. Yeah. They took a play that was irrelevant and made it somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
They did the opposite with the onside kick. The onside kick is not dangerous. It's a bunch of backup players going 10 yards. But they made it a relevant play. And that should also be the job of the competition committee, to make the game more exciting and entertaining for the fans. And they're not doing that.
Well, I don't want to make it seem like these guys who are backup players, their health doesn't matter, because they're going to have a shorter career than the star players are. But I just want to know, who is susceptible to injuries here? What is the data that would show me that, oh my gosh, you can't have these onside kicks with run-up? Yeah, McLovin.
But the choice in front of them has nothing to do. Nobody was even talking about the kickoff rule change. It's all, do you want the kickoff or the 4th and 15? So maybe the 4th and 15 is the best you're going to get. It's not.
No. If I think if you had the onside kick with run-up or 4th and 15, I would be curious what people would take, what the coaches would take there.
But I don't think that was even discussed.
I know, but that's what should be discussed here, in my opinion. If you're going to do it, because the other one is boring.
But they're never going to bring a run-up back in. They'll never make it because of safety, right? Don't they talk about that stuff all the time?
I know. I'm just waiting if they do the 4th and 15 a couple of years down the road to be like, I don't know, I don't want to risk my star quarterback out there, or my wide receiver, or I got Aaron Donald back on the field again, and who knows, he could get hurt. Like, we're putting better players out there for one more play while we're concerned about the validity of the onside kick. All right, 20 after the hour. We'll take a break here. We'll come up with our poll question. Got a stat of the day. Got a play of the day as well. And I'm being told by Marvin that there's even more Matt LaFleur sound from the Packers press conference.
Matt LaFleur feat. Who is it featuring this cut?
The other saying there was a song, "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." It's a song of "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
LaFleur.
Let the bodies hit LaFleur.
LaFleur. Okay. I got to find this out because Marvin, he says, got another piece of sound from Matt LaFleur. No music, talking about his relationship with Aaron Rodgers since the draft. I don't know. I think I'd rather hear the music in there. Might be more interesting.
I just want to know if the music was part of the original cut or if they were both dubbed in simultaneously and it was an accident.
Well, in about, 45 seconds, I'm going to go back there and talk to Marvin and just ask him about this. In fact, you know what we'll do? Since we're on YouTube, youtube.com/Dan Patrick Show, you can watch me go back and talk to Marvin. And we'll find out. There's Marvin. Hey, Marv. That's Marvin right there. Welcome to the show, Marvin. Yeah. Hey, any publicity is good publicity, right? That's what you guys tell me all the time. We'll take a break, and you can listen to me scold Marvin coming up in a little bit. 21 after the hour, this is the Dan Patrick Show. You check things all the time like your email, your Instagram. How about checking something as important as your credit? Discover makes it quick and easy. Best of all, it's free. Discover's now offering FICO credit scores. That's the score used by 90% of top lenders, and doing so for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. The Discover Credit Scorecard, it's free for everyone. Promise. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations do apply. Yeah, Paul.
By the way, one of the more cringeworthy moments in show history is when we had Dan Marino on set in Minnesota at the Super Bowl. Oh. And McLovin said something about Dan Marino not having a title. I didn't realize Marino had walked onto the set. I was like, ooh, that's cold. And then I look and saw Marino. I was like, oh, my God, that's cold.
He was off to the side.
Yes.
And I said, Dan Marino's coming up. And then McLovin had this snarky line of, I thought we were having quarterbacks who'd won Super Bowls or something.
Yeah.
And I went, and I look over and I see Marino. And Marino is a no-nonsense guy. Like, he's a Pittsburgh guy and just like, he has sense of humor to a certain degree. All of a sudden, I'm going, I got to go interview the guy now. And McLovin is, taking a shot at Marino. Yeah, Fritzy.
And as tan as Dan Marino is, you can still see a little bit of redness starting to appear in his cheeks of, I'm going to get this guy.
These Hall of Fame quarterbacks are so sensitive.
When we said that to Montana, and here's Montana with 4 Super Bowls, and then, I had to let Montana know that McLovin refers to him as a system quarterback. And he's a guy who his place in history is firm, it's firmly cemented. And here's Montana going, like, he changed. He was, cool Joe, good time Joe, and he looks at McLovin like, did you say that? Like, I'm going to kill you. Yeah, Paulie.
Then during the break, I'm watching the video. Marino got the ball and almost took McLovin's thumb off his body when he threw the ball at him.
Yeah.
You put a little sauce on it.
I was rooting for Marino.
Oh, of course you were.
But not to, make your heart stop, because I did wonder if these quarterbacks threw it and it hit you right in the heart. I think Aaron Rodgers could have stopped your heart. Because that ball sizzled. When Aaron Rodgers threw that ball at the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, it sizzled. And it put an imprint in the glass. They call it the cross. So at the tip of the football, there was the cross there. That would have been on your chest if he had hit you. Yeah, Fritzy.
And then I'm not afraid of Alex Smith throwing it hard at me. He's no Patrick Mahomes. Then maybe I'd be worried about him breaking a few fingers.
Well, Alex Smith threw it as hard as he could. I caught it and went 8 more yards after the catch.
Jesus.
It was one of your finest moments, McLovin.
The Alex Smith one was above and beyond.
When you said, oh, yeah, I'm not worried about catching one from him. It's not like he's Patrick Mahomes.
But by the way, you notice that he was still in a secretly good mood that day, and then the next day we found out why?
And we did wonder, Did Alex
Yeah.
Smith know he was getting traded? Because he got traded 8 hours later.
Signed a $75 million
Yeah,
contract
yeah.
24 hours later. I think he quickly forgot about my.
So, Matt LaFleur's sound with heavy metal attached to it. What happened?
So, like a good employee, you said, Marvin, can you grab some Matt LaFleur sound? I said, sure. Got right on it. And I went to CBS Sports HQ and got the sound, and it was underneath, and it was real quick. I just handed you the.
Did you listen to it?
I did. And
You listened to it?
I did.
And you knew that music was there?
I did.
And so why did we air that? Could you tell what Matt LaFleur was saying throughout that soundbite?
No, not
Okay.
one bit. Not.
Okay. All right.
Nope. I heard best player available.
Now, who put that music on there?
Oh, that was them because I looked.
Wait, so CBS put that music on
Yes.
the soundbite?
Yes, as if it was Sports Center via 1997. They put the music underneath, and I was
Oh,
like,
I know, I was there.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if we should talk to
CBS?
yeah.
No, I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay.
We shouldn't have aired it.
But I'm trying to put this on someone else.
I realize
Oh,
you're
okay.
doing
Oh,
it.
all right.
And normally you blame Dylan or Tyler.
Yeah.
Mario is right in there. He always screws up. Why is everybody left? Did everybody want to get out of here because you were going to get yelled at?
Yeah.
And now you have another piece of sound from Matt LaFleur?
I do. No music. None. This is from ESPN Milwaukee, not CBS Sports HQ. Sorry, Dan.
Head to danpatrick.com. Check out the latest Dan Patrick Show gear. Have something special coming just in time for Father's Day. Check out the new store at danpatrick.com. Went back and had a little conversation with Marvin. Marvin handles phone calls, gathers sound, does a lot of things for us. Normally does a really good job. But he came up with a Matt LaFleur soundbite, the Packers head coach. And I thought, well, I got a soundbite with LaFleur talking about why he drafted Jordan Love. And I said, yeah, it sounds like something we'll use here. And it was courtesy of CBS Sports HQ. Marvin said, CBS Sports is the one who put the music on there. And I'm trying to understand why you would. Okay, let's play it again. Here is Matt LaFleur, courtesy of CBS Sports HQ, providing the music.
Yeah, you never quite know what to expect. I think in terms of the draft, a lot of people you don't know what you have for a couple of years, usually. Typically, I mean, that's how it goes. And a lot of times it gets heavily criticized but ultimately, he and his staff do a great job of just evaluating guys. And
Okay.
it was just an opportunity.
Alrighty. There you go.
Get the guy that
I said to Marvin, did you listen to it? And I think he said that he did. And I said, well, why did we play it? Yes, he.
So the weird part of that is that on TV, if you're watching the segment, it probably would have worked okay, but for some reason just the audio doesn't work.
But why would you put that? Why do you have to dress up a Matt LaFleur soundbite talking about why the Packers drafted Jordan Love?
That sounds like a shot at Matt LaFleur, but
Well, and CBS Sports HQ here. I don't. Do they normally do this? And if they do, then okay, I'm probably not in their demo because I do like to hear what somebody's saying.
there's a little double bass in the beginning.
Oh yeah, killing it there. Marvin did say that he had a answer from Matt LaFleur, and there's no music attached to this one.
think you're always working on that relationship no matter who you pick. And had so many good conversations prior to the draft, after the draft. I've spent a lot of time with Aaron throughout this virtual off season. We talk 4 times a week whenever we get those opportunities to meet in those individual meetings. And I feel really good about where we're at. You know, we both understand that this is a business. And when that whole thing went down, it was just one of those situations where there were a couple guys targeted that had just previously been picked, and Jordan was the next guy on the board. And so we went with the best player at the time.
Okay. All right. Stay with the script there. And then Matt LaFleur said they need more explosive plays this upcoming season. So I asked Ethan from Stats Inc., I said, hey, can we look at the Packers offense last season and where did they rank with explosive plays? They had 59 plays of 20 or more yards. That's tied for 21st in the NFL. The average yards per play was 18th in the NFL. Packers wide receivers combined for 154 receiving yards per game, 19th in the NFL. Even the Bears had more yards from their wide receivers last year than the Green Bay Packers. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting compared to the Bears offense, that's a bad sign.
Yeah. And then you went explosive plays and you took a backup quarterback, an H-back, and a fullback. I'm just guessing here. Probably not going to improve that much, considering there were all these wide receivers who might have helped you. Now, Matt LaFleur says, hey, this is a business. Aaron understands that. I thought the business was to win now. If you're telling me that Jordan Love can't miss, absolutely can't miss, and we know that's not true because we've seen quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall who have missed. If I have Aaron Rodgers and I'm paying Aaron Rodgers and I believe in Aaron Rodgers, then I stockpile for Aaron Rodgers because he gives me a chance to win now. Jordan Love maybe gives me a chance to win in 3 or 4 years. Aaron Rodgers, I know, gives me a chance to win now. Now, do I think Green Bay was a 13-win team? No, I do not. I think at best they were a 10-win team. And probably a 9 or 10-win team this year. But you got a good running back. I still have a quality quarterback. But I don't have weapons that are really going to make you nervous aside from Devontae Adams. If you add one more wide receiver, maybe 2. Now you got something here. Why have Aaron Rodgers if he's just going to hand off? If you're going to be if your scheme, if your offensive game plan is to mirror the San Francisco 49ers, the team that ran down your throat, I would either change what my offensive philosophy was going to be and have it wide open, or I would get some defensive players who can stop the run. That's just me, because what you got is we're going to have a fullback like the Niners do, and we'll have an H-back in there. That feels like you want to be more like San Francisco than you do Kansas City. But hey, if Matt LaFleur, you keep your job and you got Aaron Rodgers there for at least 2 more years, then, you want it in your image, your likeness of what you want this to be, then fine. You got that, autonomy there, then fine. But I just don't see how this plays well with Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers didn't like Mike McCarthy, he's going to be all in on Matt LaFleur saying, hey, we want to run the ball. We want to establish the run. Okay. You can't have both. Hey, we're going to have explosive plays, but we want to be a running team. Good luck here the next couple of years. Yeah, Paul.
I think Packers fans would be more understanding if they did a lot in the free agency market. If they got a wide receiver and a tight end, and I think they got Devin Funchess. He's not a bad player, but he does not move the needle. And if they had added a bunch of stuff other than that in the offseason, then they'd be cool with what they did to the draft.
Yeah, if you want to use that draft pick on Jordan Love, fine. If he falls into your lap, then great. He didn't fall into your lap. Now, maybe, 4 years from now, when we're still doing this show, Packers and Matt LaFleur might come on and say, yeah, I remember when you called me out there. You called out the Packers. Absolutely. Record it. I just don't understand the philosophy of paying Aaron Rodgers that amount of money If that's the case, I would have tried to trade Aaron Rodgers or, before you sign him to this contract extension. If you're not sold on him, if you think he's in the twilight, you want to change the philosophy there, then I would have made changes. That's what surprises me the most out of this. McLovin, what's the poll question today?
Okay, I put up the kickoff question to start. Would you rather have the current onside kick where guys can't run up, or the old onside kick where they can run up? But someone pointed out on Twitter, how do you differentiate? So you can say now in all kickoffs the guys can run up. So you're just going back to the old kickoff rule, which will be so. The main problem is the onside kick is awesome. The normal kickoffs stink. So how do you get rid of the normal kickoffs and keep the onside kickoff?
Well, you can still have the kickoff. It's just there's going to be touchbacks.
Yeah. So right.
Yeah. But that's
you sort of a problem, though, right?
Well, it's boring. Used to be you sat down, you couldn't wait for the opening kickoff. Or a team just scores and they're getting ready to kick off and you see what your team does, to retaliate. And you have a great kick returner. Like what happens to the great kick returners now? They're not going to have a future. You're going to have punt returners. Yeah, McLovin.
Do you think they would have already gotten rid of the kickoff if it wasn't for the onside kick?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Do
you think we'll have it in 5 to 10 years?
Well, I don't know. I don't, that it feels like the NFL can try something and then they just say, no, on second thought, we're not going to do it. Or we're going to change, we're going to table this, we're going to change it. We're going to come back to the fact that they started out with replay, they killed replay in 91. They didn't really come back and fully embrace it 6 or 7 years later. And now we can't live without it. Maybe they come back to something like this. Maybe they come back with the 4th and 15. Maybe there is an onside kick. I don't know. I still don't know if somebody has data out there that says how dangerous the onside kick is with the run-up. I'd just love to see it. And then I'll shut up. Yeah, Paul.
The NFL does not have to eliminate the kickoff because the only thing left is the illusion of the kickoff. There is no kickoff anymore. Who's the best kickoff returner in the league? No name comes to your head because nobody dominates at the position. They basically eliminated the kickoff while still technically having it around. It's all touchbacks. 75% of games in the NFL start with a touchback. So that means you get all fired up for the game, you tune on, and it's a touchback.
Yeah, Fritzy.
And kickoff is used in so many ways, like on different shows or different ways of describing football, kickoff classic or kickoff specials. Not to mention Super Bowl. What's a more exciting moment when that opening kickoff and all the cameras are flashing, and that's how you get the game started, not putting the ball on the 25-yard line. That's lame.
McLovin, what other poll questions do you have? I agree with you, Todd.
NBA format. Are you for a 20-team play-in?
I'm going to talk about this in a little bit because there's a couple things in play here. The drawing power of Zion Williamson. I think the Dallas Mavericks are being treated unfairly. If they have the play-in games, and I'll talk about this, the star power of Zion is the NBA going out of its way to make sure that Zion Williamson is included in the playoffs this year, at least on the periphery. And the Dallas Mavericks in the number 7 spot, why they might be unfairly targeted here. I have that for you coming up. Anything else, McLovin?
Well, it's kind of out there everywhere, but DeAndre Hopkins said he was the best wide receiver in the NFL yesterday. Is this a true statement? Classic sports talk
I was
radio.
watching Jalen and Jacoby when he was on, and I didn't throw anything at the TV or stomp my feet or text my friends. I want DeAndre Hopkins to say he's the best wide receiver in football. I don't know. I know in this day and age, we're supposed to be upset about everything. Somebody has an opinion, then you have to, be opposite that opinion. If you want DeAndre Hopkins and you want to say he's the best wide receiver in the game, I can't argue. Are there other great wide receivers? Absolutely. But if you said DeAndre Hopkins gets to play his career with Drew Brees, okay, I'd like to see how that plays out. Or if I had him with Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. Look at the cast of characters that DeAndre Hopkins has had prior to Deshaun Watson there, And DeAndre Hopkins still put up incredible numbers. Yeah, McLeod.
Isn't it funny? He's going to Larry Fitzgerald now on Arizona, who's had the same issue that DeAndre Hopkins had. He put up amazing numbers with bad quarterbacks for years, right?
Yes. And to be able to do this, now he's got Kyler Murray. All right. I have no problem if, what if DeAndre Hopkins says, no, Mike Thomas is the best wide receiver? I'd be like, are you kidding me? Really? I want DeAndre Hopkins to say he's the best wide receiver. And Mike Thomas, to say he's the best whoever, I don't, doesn't. Now, it could get silly, but if Mike Evans says, hey, I'm the best wide receiver in the NFL, good. All right, I'm fine. I'm okay.
How many guys can say that without it being totally ridiculous? 4 or 5, 6 or 7?
I'm going to say 5, maybe. If I got Thomas, Julio, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, I'm sure I'm leaving out somebody here.
Tyreek Hill's a little different, but because he does more than play wide receiver.
Yeah. He's not a great wide receiver. He's just a great weapon.
Right. I don't know if he counts in the same way those guys.
I'm sure there's one other or two other wide receivers you'd put in there. But it's a short list of who are those guys that you say, the fact that DeAndre Hopkins pointed this out to Jalen and Jacoby on the mothership, you had teams that were playing against the Texans who specifically went out and got cornerbacks to try to defend DeAndre Hopkins. Like, that's the ultimate. When you say, hey, you know what we need to do in the draft? We play the Texans twice in our division. We're going out and getting a cornerback who can try to cover him. That's the ultimate respect. All right, phone calls coming up. We got our play of the day, and we'll have that for you coming up next year on the Dan Patrick Show.
Would you rather have your own private jet or your own private yacht? Like where you could live on it, that type of big 150-footer. Or a private jet where you could travel anywhere you want on call.
Would I rather have Tiger Woods' yacht
now he has both,
or Tiger Woods' plane?
Yeah, I'm looking at them and they're both great. One is more about convenience. The jet.
I would go plane. I'd go jet. I mean, the yacht is great, but you can rent a yacht for 2 weeks. I can have a plane that I'm going to use all the time. Plus, there could be one of those where you just say, I don't know, what are we doing later today or tonight? I don't know. What do you think? Why don't we go up to Toronto and sit behind Drake? Okay. And then you could just do it. Yeah. Yeah, see.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, you just go.
Because I was going to say, I'm like, yeah, but I can't really. When am I ever going to be able to just fly around places? But yeah, I guess you could just real quick for dinner.
Yeah, like a concert. Oh, I'm reading. There's this great restaurant in Chicago. Do you want to go? Well, what time is it? 3:30? Yeah, we'll get there 4:45.
Because people do that.
Yeah.
People do that. People live that way.
Yes.
What?
But I've been reading about NFL owners are having an arms race to get nicer yachts.
Yes.
Like, yachts are in right now. If you have $5 billion lying around.
Well, Dan Snyder just got one. Now, didn't Jerry Jones get one? And then Dan Snyder said, oh, no. This is a yacht.
Is that why he did it? Because of Jerry? I thought Jerry was a bus guy.
I have no idea. Well, he's got a bus, too, and he's got a jet. But you should check, because Dan Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, wow. I think that's $250 million for that one. Yes, Fritzy.
I heard it's yacht everything's cracked up to be. Is that true? Like the first day you get a boat, and then your favorite best day. And
I thought the cracked up to be was a joke, and I was going, all right.
It was meant to be.
Oh, it was?
We're not talking about a 14-foot Boston whaler that you have to put in the water yourself.
Yeah, yes.
Wait a minute. I couldn't understand exactly what Todd was saying there, but did you say it's yacht everything it's cracked up to be?
I did say that.
Oh, that was the joke.
It's yacht everything it's cracked up to be. Having a
okay.
yacht.
Delivery. Yeah. You kind of swallowed. You swallowed the punch. Yeah.
But it wasn't that funny anyway. Even if I would have said it smoothly, it still would have been.
It was on. But Dan Snyder, he's got a nice little boat there. Yes, McLevin.
Second hour poll: would you rather have the yacht or the private plane? Because I am totally split. How about a helicopter? By the way, I've heard that's a lot of fun.
Right foot danger.
Yeah, no thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you're gonna be out on your yacht and you get pirates out there and sharks. It's not exactly.
There's a lot of pirates out here in Milford Bay.
off the coast of Greenwich. That's when those pirates. That's where they filmed that movie with Tom Hanks.
They're more luxury pirates.
Well, you're not just gonna stay off the coast of Greenwich. You're gonna go somewhere, I assume.
I'm the captain now. Yes.
Remember we were at the New Orleans Super Bowl and Shad Khan had his yacht parked there? There was a guy whose name I don't know had the next yacht over. It made Shad Khan's look like a medium-sized yacht, and he had a jet boat hooked to the back, like in a little docking station, like where you could go water skiing. So he had a boat that went in the back of his yacht.
Well,
he could drop and he had a helipad on back.
Well, look at Paul Allen, the late Paul Allen, his yacht, and I think he had maybe 2 heliports. He had 2 landing places for helicopters, and then I think he had a submarine that came out from underneath. Like, just stupid stuff. Who is the person, the actor you won't get in a car with? Let's say we're not on set. Let's say we're just driving the streets of New York.
Well, it was about a year ago when I first got a car, my most recent car. Vin said to me, "Hey man, let me drive," and I was like, "Cool."
Wait, you got the car and he wanted to drive?
Yeah, he wanted to drive because I guess he knew all the back. We was like in the valley in L.A. and all the canyons and back roads. He knew where to go. Mm-hmm. And so that's the last time I've ever let him drive my car.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah, he scared the hell out of me. And it wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't cool. It was a very uncomfortable situation.
Was he in character?
As a man, you don't really want to show another man that their driving is making you nervous. So I was up in the car and, I was doing all that extra stiff and, and he was just listening to music really loud. And he wasn't drunk or anything, but I just didn't really appreciate how he was hitting them corners. And I was like, dude, we don't have no directors around or anything. We're not shooting a scene. And so I didn't really understand why he would go that far. So I haven't let him drive me around in anything, ever.
Play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! Ready to play it and play it.
This is the play of the day. Check this out.
The wind, the 1-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball left side. Castro's got it. Spins, throws. He got him. A perfect game for Roy Halladay. 27 up and 27 down. Halladay is mobbed at the mound as the Phillies celebrate perfection tonight in Miami.
Courtesy of Comcast Sportsnet, Phillies beat the Marlins that night. Roy Halladay, the late Roy Halladay, struck out 11 batters, 115 pitches. A couple months later, he threw his second no-hitter in postseason history. Passed away in an airplane accident in 2017. ESPN's got a special. I don't know if it's an E60 or 30 for 30 about Roy Halladay and sort of everything he was going through. Pain medicine, addiction, and I think they found drugs in his system, alcohol in his system when he crashed his plane, but in the Gulf of Mexico. Really sad, tragic. It's one of those where you see somebody and you think one thing, and then you start to hear the story behind the curtain, and you realize what he was going through. And his wife said he was in so much pain, and he was in and out of rehab. They tried all kinds of things for Roy Halladay. He battled depression, but I have not seen the ESPN special on him, but I'm sure it's pretty powerful stuff if you have his widow talking about that. Yeah, Paul.
I can remember back in the day, he seemed kind of like a boring guy, a quiet, methodical pitcher, not really a star, not a lot of star power. We had him on, remember, after he won that Cy Young?
In Toronto.
Yeah, and he was kind of funny. And we're like, oh, he's got a personality, but he was a very quiet guy.
I think that's the only time I ever interviewed him, and I don't know. I know he was in Toronto, but I forget. He had a good answer about something or something fun about where his Cy Young was.
You asked him if he said, if I were you, I'd put my Cy Young over my bed.
Yes.
And he goes, that's not bad. Every day I'll wake up and think I'm the man. That's what he said back to you.
Play of the day brought to you by LegalZoom. They need to make it legal. They make it LegalZoom.com. Take care of your family today. The right estate plan. You need to talk to an attorney. They have that. Total transparency on the prices. And because they're not a law firm, they don't charge you by the hour. No billable hours. LegalZoom.com. Stats Inc. just sent me this percentage of kickoffs which were returned in the NFL. I can go back to the year 2000. Almost 90% of the kickoffs were returned in the year 2000. 2010, the number dropped to 80%, which is still respectable. 2019, the number of kickoffs returned, 36%. And what happens is when there's a $1 billion concussion lawsuit, that's when those numbers start to drop. No coincidence there. All right. What's the poll question we're going to go with, McLovin?
When do you want to get in the NBA? Because I'm curious what people want there.
Top of next hour, I want to talk about the NBA. Feels like they're trying to shoehorn the Pelicans and Zion Williamson into the play-in games for the postseason.
Oh, okay, I'm going to work on that NBA poll while you get that ready.
All right. What else do you have?
Okay, we settled DeAndre Hopkins. People on Twitter are asking, why don't you like the 4th and 15 play?
I'm okay with it.
You just would rather have the old way.
I would rather have the onside kick with the run-up. I like the element of surprise that it can happen, at the beginning of the second half, like the Saints did in the Super Bowl. It can happen at the very end of the game. Just the element of surprise, the element of we might be able to pull this off and have an onside kick. Now, I go back to the Packers. Remember when all they had to do was recover an onside kick years ago and couldn't do it? And, it was just one of those where you went, oh, my gosh. All they had to do was just catch the ball, I believe. Do you remember that, McLovin?
I do remember. We're trying to nail down the details.
Yeah. I remember it was a tight end and his number was in the 80s, which is redundant. But I can remember the guy going up and it just popped off his hands.
Yeah.
But Richard Rodgers?
Brandon Bostic. Oh, no. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah. But you just have those moments there. You have the all-hands team up there. And, are you going to kick it to the right side, to the left side? I would love to have that still in the game. But the 4th and 15, I don't think the NFL needs dressed up here. I really don't. There's so many great elements to the NFL that I don't need to add excitement. We've added excitement because we've taken the defense out of the game. There should be excitement. There should be tons of big plays, and there are. I don't know if 4th and 15, although I do think it's gimmicky. It'd be interesting, be fun. But the fact that at least one owner said, well, it's not fair to us because those other teams have Hall of Fame quarterbacks. If that's your philosophy here, your reasoning, that seems to be a little bit flawed. Yeah, McLevin.
What about as a poll, which end of game do you like better, NFL or college? I obviously know where
I don't want to go down that road again.
But the one thing with college, it takes like 5.5 hours to play a game because they keep
now
stopping
that's
the clock.
Really gimmicky.
Oh, I was talking about overtime. I'm talking about the fact that you can come back in the last 2 minutes because they stop the clock.
Yeah, I know, but that's too detailed, too technical. Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, college games do last longer, but the odds of a great comeback because of stopping the clock with first downs is just so much higher. I would rather the fourth quarter be fantastic and longer than shorter and boring.
Yeah. We've gotten into this college versus the NFL, and I don't want to do that. We've been down that road before. 2014 NFC Championship game at Seattle is when that happened. Now, if the Packers recover that, do they go to the Super Bowl? Yes, it's the NFC title game. I mean, there was a lot at stake, a lot of tension there. But I'd still love to have that element there. With the run-up, you can have that possibility. Without the run-up, it just seems rare that you're going to complete a successful onside kick. Either have it or don't have it. I guess that's my point with it. Have it where you actually get an opportunity to recover the onside kick. We'll check in with the Kansas City Chiefs. The contract talks have started. The question is, how much is Patrick Mahomes going to take, and when does he take that money? Have that for you coming up. Dan Patrick Show.
That's one of the last movies I can think of where we were actually shooting on film before, because everything's digital now. So the studio was giving us a hard time because I think we shot 1.5 million feet of film just with all the improvising, and so I don't know if we did have a sense that the Catalina wine mixer, the fact that we were making such a big deal about something so stupid, was hopefully going to land with people. And
is the goal to crack each other up?
Pretty much. Yep.
But you can't crack up on screen, because then
you can't. You can't. You get it out of your system, and then you learn to kind of rein it in for enough times to actually get a competent take. But when you're cracking each other up, there's no better feeling.
And there's not a sequel to Step Brothers, right? Or is there talk?
Not.
There is not. Okay.
There is not.
You're not a sequel guy.
Here's a bit of trivia though for you, Dan.
Okay.
Guess who was cut out of the Catalina wine mixer as a cameo?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
I wish. You'll never guess.
Craig
it was a surprise.
Kilborn.
Someone in the sports world. One of your cohorts on Sunday Night Football.
Al
NBC.
Michaels.
Nope, close. Warmer.
Chris Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth. Adam McKay told me I have a surprise cameo for you today.
That is a surprise.
Chris Collinsworth.
Why Chris Collinsworth?
I have no idea. And Chris was willing to do it, but he didn't make the final cut.
This is something very exciting sent in from our buddy Jake in Chicago, I want to say. He's delivered another great graphic. That's got T-shirt written all over it, if I'm not mistaken. Shat Row. He's a very loyal, I don't know if he's a Shattist himself.
Wow.
But he came right to, he whipped that up in, I don't know, not very long. I figured Mario would enjoy that one, Tyler as well. And Shat Row, if you want us to throw that on a T-shirt, we can make that happen.
Yeah, Mario referred to Chat Row as Shat Row. And I went up row.
Rut row.
Because
like Rut row.
Chat Row doesn't like Mario as it is. And then he threw out Shat Row.
Shat Row.
And now it's up to Tyler, the moderator, who moderates the chat
It's
row.
so funny how just one letter makes all the difference. You know?
Yeah.
Turn that C into an S and it's a whole other thing. That's for you, Mario. Oh, look, he's wearing the color T-shirt, too, as a matter of fact.
Coincidence?
It would go perfectly if we just got those stripes and then some toilet paper
and just
on
said
there.
Chat Row on it.
A Shattist.
I'm going to give you a shout out.
Are you a Chattist or a Shattist? Are you a chat or Shattist?
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
He was so locked in. It was scary. One of the bright baseball minds that I worked with at the mothership, he's Steve Phillips, host of Leadoff Spot on MLB Network. What is the common ground that will allow us to be able to play baseball?
Prorated salaries at 100% will not get a deal done. The players are going to have to come off of that. And the owners are not going to get a 50-50 share of the losses with the players because they're taking physical risk. That has dollar value that needs to be acknowledged.
I can't wait for that first argument at home plate where the manager is about 6 or 7 feet away from the umpire. And I can't understand sometimes what he's saying.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour 2 on this Friday. It's a Traeger Meat Friday, but we have mahi-mahi cooking on the Traeger grill. Can't you smell the mahi-mahi? Gang's all here, ready to go. Glad you're part of the program. If you're watching, you're listening, tweeting, emailing, or all the above. Dan Patrick Show. Coming up, we'll check in with the Kansas City Chiefs. They've started negotiations quietly, privately, with Patrick Mahomes' his agent. The question is, if you're Patrick Mahomes and his agent, what do you take and when do you take it? We'll talk to Sam Mellinger. He covers the Kansas City Chiefs for the Kansas City Star. He'll join us coming up a little bit. The popular Rebecca Lowe, on loan from NBCSN. She, of course, is the host of the Premier League. She will join us. The Premier League is coming back here in a couple of weeks, the Premiership. And it feels like they're just coming back to say, all right, let's make it official so Liverpool can finally get a title. Liverpool's first since 1990. Yay! Because they're, 25 points ahead of everybody else. They can't lose this. It's a coronation for Paulie's Liverpool squad. And, Fritzy's got a kit on today, a Manchester United
I
kit.
couldn't name one player, but I figured with Rebecca on, I should wear something soccer related. So found this in the deep recesses of my closet there.
Stand up. Let's see what it looks like there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Got your red kit, Manchester United there. What happened to Manchester United, Paul?
They've had about a 4-year stretch where they just can't get back to that top 4 level. And they keep churning through different players. They keep spending money. They just have a 4-year window just whiffing, basically. And then Liverpool got the right guys about 2 years ago, and they're on a run.
Is this a big deal for you?
For Liverpool, yes.
No, for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a pretty long-term Liverpool fan, probably about 16, 17 years now. And they've come close a few times. A few years ago, they had it within their grasp. And there was a horrendous mistake by a star player. And
I, of course, have my Liverpool hat that I've had for, how long have I had this?
4 weeks?
No, I think it's longer than that.
Oh,
it's
6
a couple
weeks.
of months. A couple of months I've had this Liverpool hat.
Yeah, you timed it out right.
Front runner. Well, I learned from my kids. You know, they like somebody right away. It's like, oh, I've been a fan of theirs for like a year. I'm curious what Patriot fans are going to be like this year. Because they love the Patriots and Tom and your Super Bowl team. What if New England goes 9-7 this year? Maybe 10-6 if all goes well. What if they go 8-8? How dedicated are those fans going to be if you're not a Super Bowl caliber team? Yes.
Yeah, sure will be interesting to see that.
Are you still going to be a Patriot fan?
Yeah. It's definitely a Patriots household for sure. Although we're much more interested, I know I am for sure, in seeing what the Buccaneers do. That'll be fun, but it's definitely a Patriots house.
If I said the Buccaneers were going to go far in the playoffs or the Patriots were going to go far in the playoffs,
I would take the Patriots. Although I don't know. I guess both are really interesting storylines. You know, I mean, from what we do for a living, I think both are pretty interesting.
I saw where Brady's SUV is for sale.
Yeah, that looks bad. No, not too bad.
It looks boring.
It looks comfy.
You know, it does. It looks like the inside of a private jet, but it's $300,000 for Tom Brady's SUV. Yeah, I know.
What does it do?
You could lounge in it. You get your got a couple chairs that recline. It's got a 32-inch TV.
He said that it was his sanctuary, that it helped him after games when he would be driven home and then he could watch film. And like you look at it and you go, $300,000? You can take a tour of it. It's got, the finest Italian leather.
Natch.
Is every Italian leather the finest Italian leather? Because it feels like that.
Right. Is there a subprime Italian leather?
Like this is average Italian leather, but if it's the finest Italian leather, and it looks really comfortable, but it's sort of a beige interior.
A little bland.
Yeah, a little blandsky. Yes, Paul.
How come stuff in other countries is always better? Like Italian leather, Himalayan sea salt. We don't have sea salt here. They don't have sea salt down in near New Orleans or something. Why? Something in other countries is always better.
But it's because you can't. It's not readily available.
Like this is Italian marble. Oh, Italian marble.
Yeah,
oh, crap.
Yeah, and if you get shoes, the Italian shoes.
Right.
Yes, Todd.
Don't you need like a jacuzzi and a brick oven, like something more than for $300,000? Wouldn't that be cool if there was a way to fit a mini jacuzzi? You can, bake some pizza in there in the back. You got to have something more than beige seats and reclining chairs and a couple of TV sets.
I don't know if you're a Brady fan. Is that who's going to buy this? I'm assuming you're going to buy, but you're spending $300,000 to sit where Tom sat. Yes, he.
I love that peek into what Todd would do if he won the lottery. Like, say Todd won $300 million. He would get an Escalade, and inside of it, he would put a jacuzzi and a pizza oven. That's what he would do if he had unlimited wealth. Those are the things, like right off the top of his head. He's like, "What? Don't you want like a jacuzzi and a pizza oven?
Make little mini hot dogs in the corner
see,
somewhere?"
You actually stop and listen to what Todd says. When I hear it, I just keep moving.
You do tune me out.
Don't you want like a jacuzzi and a pizza oven? You sit in the jacuzzi, you bake yourself a little snack on your way home, don't you? You gotta get
Sitting there in
something.
your jacuzzi holding a nice pepperoni slice.
No, but Todd, who's going to cooking? Because you don't.
Well, if I could afford a $300,000 vehicle, I'll have someone that's on my beck and call that could make these things. I'm not doing it.
$300,000 SUV that's
It's
3
still
years
just a
old.
car. $300,000.
I know, but it's
not an airplane.
Well, I can understand if you're buying certain cars, like a Steve McQueen's Porsche. All right, I get it. You spend $1 million on something like that, a collector's item there. There's certain, cars out of movies here, but Tom's SUV for $300 large? Yeah, see.
If you got all that money, though, why not spend it to make yourself as comfortable as you could be? Right? Isn't that like one of the benefits of being just filthy rich is that you're like, just comfort.
But if I have the money, why am I not doing that for my own SUV instead of taking Tom's leftovers here?
Okay.
It's when the rich people buy a house and then they tear it down, it's because they can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see the difference.
Yeah.
Right. Why would you could just get your own $300,000 Escalade? Why are you getting Tom's?
Yeah.
Got it.
Maybe I want team colors in there. I mean, it's nice, but it looks like the inside. If I said, "Oh, what is this?" You'd say, "Oh, it looks like the inside of a private jet there." But $300,000 for Tom's SUV. Yes, McLevin.
When I was in high school, I got to drive my parents' minivan for a year. And everyone said, "Wow, you must get a lot of action in the back of that." No, seriously, people said that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you ever met me? But nothing uncooler than a minivan, by the way, when you're...
Yeah, but when you have kids, I know it's one of those, it was really hard to pull the trigger on for a minivan.
You had one?
Yeah. Yeah, had a minivan.
Is that 07 around there?
I don't remember. It's all a blur, Paulie.
Yeah. Did you approve it, or did it get past the goalie?
I knew we needed it because we had 4 kids under the age of 7, and I just remember you got to strap them in, and I just said, all right, we're good. I got to have enough baby seats in there, but when you go and you're going to spend some money on a minivan, there's so much that goes through your head where you go, God, this is the end. Like I've given up. It's over.
Sweatpants.
Yes, I'm going to have socks with sandals. Like I'm in trouble here. Yes.
There was a moment, it's sort of not about giving up, but when you realize that you're sort of living a cliche, is that I was sitting I was in a Prius in the Whole Foods parking lot with my wife and my dog. And I was like, oh my God.
You're right out of a commercial.
How did we just, I stopped in the moment and I was like, babe, look at what we're doing right now. Look at what just happened. How did this happen? How did we get here? How did this happen?
And you vow that it won't happen. I won't drive a minivan.
No, rock and roll till I die. No.
Next thing you know,
Wrong.
got a minivan.
Yeah.
Pulling up for a soccer game.
It's wild. Oh, by the way, this didn't take very long, but chat row, Brandon in Florida, saying he would buy Tom Brady's SUV, but it gets horrible gas mileage. Do you know why?
I know why.
Andrew?
Because the tires are deflated?
The tires are deflated. Hey-oh! Zing!
All right. That one stung Fritzy.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, I got a little beaten up by that one.
Yeah. All right, McLevin, you wanted to talk about the NBA, the play-in proposal here.
Yeah, put up a poll. Which is the best system? Play-in with 20 teams, play-in tournament with 20 teams, go straight to 16 playoffs, or try to have a regular season and a normal playoffs, if you're the NBA.
Mark Cuban's Mavericks would have the most to lose in a play-in scenario under previously discussed terms. That would include the teams that are 7th through 10th in the conference standings. The Mavs are 7th right now in the Western Conference standings with a 40-27 record, 7 games ahead of the 8th place Memphis Grizzlies. But this is how close Dallas is to the 4th seed overall. We're going to have them in the play-in scenario, apparently. I'm looking at the standings in the West. The Lakers have 49 wins. Clippers have 44. The Nuggets have 43. Jazz have 41. Then it's Oklahoma City, Houston, and Dallas, all with 40 wins. So it's that tightly bunched. Plus, with Utah losing one of its better players, Bogdanovich, they may be an early exit team. I saw where the Rockets GM, Daryl Morey, said that he likes this scenario as an advantage for the Rockets. They're a deep team, and they're a tough team to kind of prepare for with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They said sort of like our chances here. But the Lakers right now with 49 wins, and then they're going to open up against whoever is going to come out of that with the 8th seed overall. I feel like we played enough games that Memphis deserves to be in there. I thought John Morant, Jaren Jackson, they're the 8th seed. You've earned it. It feels like, and I'm sure that, thank God David Stern's not still the NBA commissioner, the late great commissioner, because he'd be yelling at me right now, because I'm going to say the following. Feels like the NBA certainly wants to get Zion Williamson into the playoff picture here. And New Orleans, I love watching them. I would love to see Zion play a couple more games. But if I'm looking at the standings here, the Pelicans are 4 games behind Memphis. The Blazers are 3 games behind. Just feels like we're going to extend this for the opportunity for Zion Williamson. I just get nervous in how people are going to perceive this. Oh, are you making concessions to get a team or a player in here? I want it to be about fairness. It feels like it's a little bit for marketing as well. And it might be fairness in the marketing here if you're the commissioner. I don't want to accuse him of anything. I'm just telling you, and I haven't heard anything. I just get the feeling, how do we get Zion Williamson in the playoff picture? And I do believe Mark Cuban is okay with this format. I don't know if I'm paraphrasing McLevin, but did Mark Cuban say, I'll take the bullet on this and we'll have our team in there even though they're not really a 7th seed overall?
Yeah, I believe Cuban is all about the 20-team play-in tournament. I think he's proposed, or he's at least supported that proposal.
I get it now because given everything that's going on, you don't want to be that guy who says, well, this isn't fair. I don't know what is fair with all of this. And now are the San Antonio Spurs, are you going to extend it so the Spurs can get in? I just feel like you get one shot, do it right. The less teams, the less risk. And if you're going to have 16 teams in Orlando, let's put it this way. If the Pelicans were the 8th seed, would we be having a play-in game? Would we have a playoff format? And I'm going to guess we probably wouldn't. But that's just me. Yes, Paul.
Could you make the case that the Pelicans as a franchise don't want to be in the playoffs and don't want to have a playoff format? They have no chance, except for a technical chance, to win the NBA title this year. Putting Zion Williamson on the court after this long layoff could only endanger him for next year. Is that fair?
Well, I guess you can look at that, but he's had a long layoff here because we weren't sure. Reggie Miller and I had conversations in December where we didn't know if Zion would even come back this season. Now we're talking about, can you get Kevin Durant back for the playoffs? That would be a bigger risk to me, having Kevin Durant come back, than having Zion Williamson's season extended by a week or so. Yeah, McLevin.
One addendum, Mark Cuban really, and you mentioned this earlier in the week, really wants regular season games too. He wants before, so he doesn't want this season to be set. He wants a few more regular season games. So maybe people can move up or down.
Okay, but and he's saying that because where his team is right now, they're 7th, but they're tied with 2 teams with 40 wins, and they can move up and maybe supplant Utah there, who has 41 wins. And if you're going to have 5 regular season games, Mark Cuban is saying maybe that we can take the Mavericks out of this play-in scenario there. I like the play-in scenario just because if it's one game between 2 teams and then one game between 2 teams and then they face each other and then they go in, what do the other teams do? Or is it just, I'm just trying to figure out how you get this done. So you're going to have each team play and then they win and then that's it? That's the playoff format, 1 through 8 in the East and West? Yeah, McLevin.
Yeah, Cuban does want to split up into East and West, not crossover, what I'm reading now.
Yeah.
What about this World Cup thing where they'd have different pools? It seemed like the latest is the GMs were not into that so much.
I think the commissioner was into it, but that was when we didn't have the pandemic, when we were going to have maybe a middle of the season tournament here with that kind of World Cup format there. Yeah, see.
Is that very much different than sort of the way the NCAA does the tournament and the brackets, and what's the difference between the East and the West and the, whatever?
I don't think so. It's just you only have 4 teams here and then 4 teams here, and with the World Cup. So you're
right. But some places get a tougher draw than others. Yeah. That's all part of the fun. When you find out that Paris Saint-Germain got the same place as Liverpool or something, you're like, oh dang, that's going to be awesome.
I think the only difference is we don't know enough about the college basketball matchups where we do the NBA. If you're saying Northern Iowa, I don't know if they're any good. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, Northern Iowa is really good. Or this team is not as good as we thought with college basketball. Because I think the NBA, we get a larger sample size and we have an idea because you have stars on there. How many times you go into March Madness and you go, I don't know. I'll take Michigan State because they got Tom Izzo. I'll take Syracuse. They got Jim Boeheim. Yeah. All right, we'll take a break here. I wanted to talk to Sam Mellinger. He covers the Kansas City Chiefs. It's quiet right now, but there are private discussions going on, reportedly, with Patrick Mahomes' agent and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm just curious the time frame of this, of if you're Patrick Mahomes, when do you ask for your money? How much is guaranteed? Is it going to be attached to the salary cap going up or down in the coming years? And do you want to do a 4-year deal so you'll be 28 when you get into the next contract? The fact that you can have a quarterback who can get a contract that's going to be a couple $100 million and do that twice in your career is going to be pretty amazing for Patrick Mahomes. And what happens to Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott? What happens with their salaries? Because you have to be watching. Now, if I'm Mahomes, I want to wait till Dak Prescott gets his money, and I want to wait till Deshaun Watson gets his money, and I want to see what the salary cap is going to look like. Because if you don't have fans in the stands, and they've already said the salary cap could go down as much as, I think, 25%. Does that sound right, McLevin?
Somebody reporting possibly 30%.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you might have his salary attached to the salary cap. If it goes down, but then when it goes up exponentially with the new TV deal, you could be looking at maybe $50 million a year for Patrick Mahomes. So we'll get an update on the contract talks there coming up a little bit. And Rebecca Lowe on loan from NBCSN to talk about the return of the Premiership. She'll join us coming up in about an hour. Take a break here. It's 20 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show.
got it. Just like that. That's how it's gonna go.
I'll get out of the way, sir. Have you seen Seton O'Connor from the Dan Patrick Show?
Nah, I don't know where that sissy went, but... Hey! I don't know how to ice skate. You know what? I feel as good. I wish that you could ask me that after I saw their first shot, because that's really going to determine a lot. But I did do actually a different kind of shot back there in the locker room.
The igloo, are you ready?
I'm in.
You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's break.
That's my good side. There it is! Get that out of here! Oh my God! What do you know about that, kid?
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
You guys against us guys? So wait, I get 2 and you get 2, right? Bagos?
Bago.
Keep your distance from me. You guys won the toss and elected to start.
That's in.
Ooh, man. Ooh, cold shot and then you didn't get it.
It's good defense.
Pretty good,
though.
pretty good.
Okay. Put a little pressure on him.
Nice.
Oh.
Ooh, tasty.
Short.
All right.
Oh boy. Oh. Nice.
Ooh. Nicer.
Dangling.
Oh.
Wait, is it?
I think-
No, we win.
But is it supposed to be teammates on the same side or one
No.
on each? Huh?
No, this is improper form.
This is improper form, right?
Oh.
So but it's a non-sanctioned
so we were
event.
supposed to be teammates and they were teammates?
Yeah, like
You're supposed to be like one guy, one on, like
Yeah.
not teammates on the
So,
same
like,
side, but teammate
Andrew
over
and Patrick would be here and they'd be trying to knock each other out.
Right.
This was like this is South American style.
there. So, right, yeah.
Okay,
So
so
a
then
little more underground.
So then it's
Here, you guys get
2.
these, right? And then give us 2 of those.
So don't you only get points when it in cornhole?
I like this game.
Yeah, this is if only they were done with pointed spears. Sorry. Wait a minute.
okay. Wait.
Oh, I thought we were just messing
Wait,
around.
what do we
Oh,
No,
sorry.
wait. Paulie, you're supposed
So we should have.
You're on my team.
Right,
We should
so
have 2
Andrew and I
yellows
should-
and 2 blacks. And we should have 2 yellows and 2 blacks.
Here, I have an extra yellow.
Well, Paulie has the yellow, and then I have the
I got 2 yellows and 1 black. 'cause
Okay,
was
can I
messing
have,
around.
here, you take this,
All right.
and then I'll take those.
We're actually on TV right now. Just
Okay.
So Steve
Go
and
ahead.
I are on the same team?
Yeah, we're on the same team.
okay. Oh,
All right. I'll go. Oh, long. That's just terrible.
Oh, and now I go? Oh.
I don't know. Who goes next? Me?
Yeah, now you go.
No.
No, yeah, no. Oh,
nice,
bang. No.
Nice.
Oh,
Fire!
boy.
Fire!
Are you kidding me?
Nice.
Come on with that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now I go, right?
Nice.
Ooh, this.
Oh, short. Oh!
Bango.
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 It's not bango, it's bango.
We'll check in with the Kansas City Chiefs here in a moment. Just got this stat. 1992, Shaq's rookie season led the Magic. They tied the Pacers for the final playoff spot in the East. The Pacers got the spot on a tiebreaker. NBA wouldn't want to see another case where its prize rookie missing the postseason on a technicality. By the way, the Magic missed out on the playoffs that year. They won the draft lottery. Wasn't that Pat Williams, who was the GM? And they selected Chris Webber, and then they traded for Penny Hardaway after that. God, I thought Penny Hardaway was going to change the NBA. Till he got hurt, he was a whole lot of fun. Sam Mellinger, he covers Kansas City sports, covers the Kansas City Chiefs for the Kansas City Star, kansascity.com, and the great columnist joins us on the program. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. These talks have been kind of quiet with Patrick Mahomes, which I think is good. But, well, first of all, are they going on?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the sort of the parameters here or the framework here from each side of what they hope to get? Let me start with the Kansas City Chiefs. What would be ideal for them to get with Patrick Mahomes?
Long-term employment of Patrick Mahomes. I think that is the goal from the team for sure. I think that, these talks have been going on, and I think that there's mutual ground here. Patrick wants to be with the Chiefs. The Chiefs obviously want him here long-term. He'll be the highest paid player in the league. I think that's a wrap. It's just a matter of structure and figuring out exactly how to do it.
But also, if you're Patrick Mahomes and his agent, what is your strategy of how long and how much, and then get that second? He'll get another contract too. That's going to be a big one before he's even 30.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. Like Chris Cabot, who is leading the negotiations on Patrick's side, he's been ice quiet. The insight that I'm getting is from other people in the business, and it is tantalizing for them because this is a possibility to really change future negotiations. I mean, the thing that comes up when you talk to anybody in football, really, agents especially, is nobody has ever had this kind of leverage. League MVP the first year, Super Bowl MVP the second year of playing, obviously set the first year. And he's 24 years old. He's changed a franchise, kind of turned them from, sort of a perennial postseason heartbreaker to, a possible next dynasty. And the Chiefs, so he's got them, he can ask for whatever he wants. And that's what people keep talking about. Like, is this the time that something gets tied to a percentage of the salary cap? That's something that some agents have wanted for a long time, and teams have always resisted. Is it just a full guarantee? I know Kirk Cousins did that a couple of years ago, but this, Patrick's numbers would obviously dwarf that. So it's sort of, I think what people around the game are looking at is not just the bottom line money, which will be enormous, but it's also what kind of new precedents can be set that can help other players.
But if you tie it to the salary cap, and if I'm going to follow what you pointed out in your column, let's say the salary cap goes down 25%.
Yeah.
Mahomes' salary then will go down, but then it will go up exponentially with the long-term possibilities with the new TV deal and gambling involved in the NFL. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, there's risk on both sides if you do that, for sure.
What kind of money, though? Can you overpay for Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think so. I mean, I feel like all the rules are different with him. When you look at his age and just what he's been able to do, there's no, I tend to think about things like this. Like, okay, if he turns out to not be as good as we think he is right now, if he just becomes a good quarterback, not a transcendent one, what is the reason? And I can't figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, is it his physical talent? Like, obviously no. Is it his mind? Obviously no. Is it his work ethic? You never know how money can change somebody, but there's nothing in his background or sort of his personality that makes you think he's a risk to, sort of start mailing it in, once he gets paid.
The only thing that would concern me, though, Sam, is we've seen this before where quarterbacks get their money. And, Seattle built a team that was on the verge of a dynasty or a mini dynasty because of Russell Wilson, where he was drafted and how much he was making. We've seen this with, teams trying to draft a rookie quarterback, get him to play, and then build the team around him. Kansas City's going to have some big ticket items, and Chris Jones, who could have been the MVP of the Super Bowl, he might be a guy who, has to pay the price for Mahomes getting his money.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, they've got, these are smart points that you're making. You know how these contracts work. Like you can actually create some short-term contracts or some short-term payroll space with a long-term deal with Chris Jones, right? Like he's on the hook for what is it, 16 million, something like that, under the franchise tag. You can create some short-term cap space by giving him a long-term deal. But the Chiefs are in a really, it's a good problem. It's one of these good problems to have because they're paying good players. But there was a moment, I think a week or two before the draft, where the Chiefs had $177 of
I
cap space.
know.
Not 177 grand, $177. They could not go out to eat as in a big group with that. So, they've got some hard decisions. But again, I mean, these are the problems that you want, right? Like you want the problem to be like, how can we tie up, the best player in the game long term?
Sam Mellinger, Kansas City Star, joining us on the program. Take me back to the draft and when the Kansas City Chiefs were moving up. And then you had Alex Smith, I believe, coming off a Pro Bowl season. And all of a sudden, you're drafting a quarterback there. What was the local media reaction in Kansas City?
It was bonkers, man. I mean, you have to remember that in Kansas City, it had just been a long line of somebody else's backup quarterback that was starting for the Chiefs. It was Trent Green, it was Steve DeBerg, it was Steve Bono, it was Joe Montana for 2 glorious seasons in the 90s. But they had not drafted a quarterback in the first round since the 1983 draft, but they came out of that with Todd Blackledge while other people got Hall of Famers. So this had been a cry. I mean, it was like almost part of Kansas City's, it was almost embedded in Kansas City as a sports fan. Is like, why the hell won't the Chiefs draft a quarterback in the first round? And when right before that draft, all these smoke screens that teams throw out, but there's some talk that they wanted a linebacker to stop the run, and short term, just for that next season, maybe that would have been the smarter move. Somebody to stop the run, because we certainly saw how that ended in the playoffs. But when they traded up, and it was not just a quarterback. A lot of people assume it might be Deshaun Watson there, right? And he was the national championship quarterback against Alabama in the 2 minutes, all that stuff. But when they took Patrick Mahomes, now you're taking a really big swing, right? Now you're really going for the highest ceiling you can get. I mean, it was just, I think there was a nervous energy, like, oh my God, it finally happened. I hope it's the right move. But it was also like, finally, at least they're taking their move.
And this covering drafts. I don't believe anything until usually that day of, or right before, maybe the day before. And I had an NFL scout who said, your guy Mahomes is moving up. Now, he said my guy because I would come in every Monday and tell my guys, you got to watch this guy. I don't know if he can play in the NFL, but he's as fun as any quarterback I've ever seen. And my NFL scout says, your guy's moving up the draft board. I go, what do you mean? He goes, oh, no, he's going top 15. I go, you got all these people who say that he's like Favre, but he's going to be a little bit more of a project here. Like, what happened where it's still an inexact science when we look at these quarterbacks? And Mahomes is one of those classic cases of he was there. Everybody could have, seen this or maybe had him. And what was it about him that we missed out on?
I think that it was a lot of surface stuff, to be honest with you. I think that, if you go back in time to 2017, the air raid, that was a knock. Nobody had ever come out of Texas Tech or that system and had a great career. There was some questions about, his handling of a huddle or his grasp of a playbook, that kind of thing. Because what you see on tape, what you see on film is outrageous. It is now in the NFL, and it certainly was at Texas Tech. But you sort of wonder, you're just used to guys like that put up these big numbers, just not being able to do it in the NFL for whatever reason. I think one thing that doesn't show up on tape with these, again, these outrageous highlights is how smart he is and how quickly he can grasp things and how quickly he can absorb it, own it, and then move on. You know what I mean? Like this is, it is different with him for sure.
You surprised the Chiefs drafted a running back that high?
I was a little bit. Look, I thought that they should have gone defensive back with that first pick and then gotten your running back later. I believe that you can get value a little bit later on at that position. But, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he is something different. And when you watch him, during the season, snap by snap throughout a whole game, and then certainly the highlight tapes now, I mean, you can see exactly what the Chiefs saw in him and how he is an unbelievable fit for that system. If he can protect, if you're going to play running back, you got to pass protect. You got to
Yeah.
be able to protect the franchise. But assuming he can learn that part of it, it's just an absolutely ridiculous fit. They're going to be tough to stop.
Sam, I can't help but go back to that knee injury with Mahomes and what we thought at the time and what it could have meant. I mean, that was historical in what it did for the franchise and a quarterback and other quarterbacks and, legacy. Like it was pretty, that was a big moment there.
Yeah, it was horrific. Right when that happened, I can't remember if it was McCole Hardman or Tyreek Hill, one of the receivers, it might have been DeMarcus Robinson. Anyway, taking their helmet off after they see what happened, after they see what that knee looked like, taking their helmet off and slamming it into the ground. And when you see that kind of reaction, you think this is more than a sprained knee. And then when you hear dislocated kneecap, it kind of makes you cringe. You know what I mean? But then it was weird. I remember he's starting to walk off the field and he's got arms around and he's being helped. And then, damned if by the time he gets to the 50-yard line, he's not walking on his own. And it was just like, this guy is just different. And then you hear he's got like double jointed knee or something. That's how he was able to, he missed 2 games with a dislocated kneecap. It's absolutely insane.
It should be fun to see. Now, does Kansas City try to wrap him up before Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson or after?
Well, I think the better question is the Cowboys and the Texans want to get those deals done before.
That's what I thought.
I think Patrick's going to get his money regardless. I don't think they really care what these other guys are going to get.
Good stuff, Sam. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That's Sam Mellinger, Kansas City Star. This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. The all-new GT 4-door coupe, because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews this week or any week from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG driving performance. Couple of phone calls in here. Marcus in New Orleans joins us. Good morning, Marcus. What do you have for me?
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Just wanted to point out the Pelicans. The remaining schedule was the easiest remaining schedule, whereas Memphis had a top 5 hardest schedule. So I think to leave our boys out would have been just not as fair, I guess. But I get your point about the marketing with Zion. Who wouldn't want to see Zion play more basketball? We love him down here.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I want to see him. I just don't want the NBA to give the impression that they're sort of, how do we make this work so it seems legitimate where we get Zion Williamson into the playoffs here? Yes,
And if you're so willing to publicly manipulate the playoffs to make sure Zion gets in there, what kind of public perception does that open up in terms of, well, look at that, we're willing to manipulate the game here to make sure our stars are in it? That's interesting.
And the NBA has always had this sort of lingering suspicion about a lot of things, accusations, a former official, and the Patrick Ewing lottery. I was there for the Patrick Ewing lottery, and you're just watching this, and I just remember watching Dave DeBusschere's face because he was so excited. Former Knicks great, but he was so excited. And if you, and maybe you don't understand, maybe if you're not old enough to understand, Patrick Ewing was really, really famous. This was a big deal getting Patrick Ewing in New York, marquee franchise. And I just remember saying, somebody said it in such a cynical way, and I'm going, well, there's no, what? Well, what if they somehow fix the lottery? I go, they can't. How do you fix the lottery? And then somebody says, well, what if you put an envelope and it's cold? And I go, so then I'm going back and, like CSI NBA, and I'm going, wait a minute, slow it down. And I'm looking to see if, the commissioner's hand is, and I'm going, I can't. I love sports too much. I just can't go this conspiracy theory. Can't go that deep on it. But, man, it exists. It still exists. And that's you can't bring, once again, the late, great David Stern. He'd be yelling at me right now. Yeah, Paul.
This is a total hypothetical, but part of the job of a commissioner is to make a sport better for the fans. If you knew you weren't going to get caught and can fix a draft to make a player go to a certain spot, and you knew you wouldn't get caught, like the frozen card, you'll never get caught, just you and your own nose. Would you do it ethically in your head? You know you're not going to get caught, so you don't have to worry about that. You just have to worry about the ethics of it. Would you fix a sport for the good of the fans?
Not if I'm a commissioner. Because then, like, at what point do you say, well, I'll do that, but I wouldn't do that?
Like if I could have if you were the commissioner and could have placed Zion Williamson on blank team, New Orleans is fine, but if you could put him on blank team, would you have done so? Some maneuver.
Well, I would have New York, but New York doesn't deserve Zion Williamson. That ownership doesn't deserve him. I wanted to make sure New Orleans kept an NBA franchise because they've been in a state of flux. And now you're in great shape. And so if I want to make sure that I have franchises that are all valuable to a certain degree, I think you're going to see 2 NBA franchises relocate. And, one of those might be in Vegas, maybe one's in Seattle. But I just get the feeling that, somebody's going to lose their franchise here. Yeah, Paul.
Somehow, here's how you know it's a setup. If the Pelicans face the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs, whatever the first round is, if it's Pelicans-Lakers, then you know the fixes.
Wait, I thought it was just a one-game play-in game. No, we want to do best of 3. Yeah. Zion lost the opener, so you got to give him one more chance here. But this is just all hypothetical. That's all. All this is. Couple of phone calls coming up. We'll update the poll results. We'll check in with Rebecca Lowe, who hosts the Premier League on NBCSN. They're back in business here, at least coming up in a couple of weeks. Have that. Scott Boras, in an email to his clients, had some things to say. I'll have some things to say about that. And a former New York Met minor leaguer has some mean things to say about Tim Tebow. Have that for you coming up as well. Dan Patrick Show.
Fellas, it's a Friday. It's time for another episode of Desert Island, Dan. This is a big one.
Ooh.
Now, you're stuck on a desert island. Here's the parameters. You could have any food you want. You have a refrigerator full of food, all the food you like. I'm not limiting you to any food. However, I'm limiting you to one condiment. One. Unlimited for life. One condiment. Amongst the choices, ketchup, mustard, mayo, hot sauce, barbecue sauce, any salad dressing, any flavor of salad dressing.
But just one singular salad dressing.
Correct, Seton.
Okay.
Honey mustard, that's big with the kids.
What'd you call me?
Steak sauce, and I'm going to throw in maple syrup because who knows?
Right.
Someone might want pancakes forever.
Okay.
Who would like to go first? Whom would like to go first?
Ooh, Todd.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I am going to go with probably the most fattening of the dressings, Thousand Island dressing. I can make that work with many, many different types of food. Thousand Island dressing for me.
It's a good call. It works on sandwiches. It works on salads.
And you're on a deserted island. It's Thousand Island.
Oh,
Right.
I didn't even realize. See, oh, you closed it for me.
McLovin?
I'm a big mustard guy. I'm worried about the versatility a little bit. But I think I'm going to go mustard. And I like mayo too, but mustard feels a little safer.
I respect that. Mustard is a one seed, but sometimes it needs help. Sometimes.
I'm backing Andrew on that one. Mustard, I actually see a lot more versatility in mustard in what I can use it on. And I would even specifically go slightly off the board, Dijon mustard.
Ooh.
Calling
The
your
French, the French know how to do mustard, and they do it well. That's what I would take.
Calling your shot.
Yeah, bang.
Wow, you guys are in my head now because I had my choice locked in. I'm going to go with barbecue sauce, Dan. I'll use it in the morning. I'll use it at night. It's versatile. That's it.
The maple syrup community is very upset with you, by the way.
Yeah, I gave him a shout out. I put him on the list.
I'm going hot sauce because that was one of my nicknames in high school.
Right.
It was hot sauce. And I just think that it can spice up anything. You can put hot sauce on just about anything there.
Wow.
So I'm good with hot sauce.
They didn't call you mayo?
No.
And that was in college.
There it is. That's the Desert Island game with condiments.
Mail room. Remember the woman at the Dayton Flyers game who held that up in support of me versus Jay Billis? So she sent that in.
Should we frame it?
It's still, smell that. Still got the magic marker smell.
Ooh. We'll sniff that later. By the way, I've been watching these segments at home for the last 3 months. I'm actually here to see it live.
Penny Got some treats. This is Susan and Braden McCondry. They're penny lovers.
Yeah.
See if Fritzy would book the legendary Lionel Richie to sing one of his classics, Penny Lover. Uncle Dan Patrick. All right. Got some more treats in there. Here's some of my dog treats for your dog Penny. My dad listens to your show every day. That's Bellamy in Billings, Montana. And we got some treats there. Well, thank you, Bellamy. I like that.
You guys remember when the Danettes used to get stuff mailed into them? Now it's all Penny.
I picked this up and I said, boy, this feels like a bobblehead, but it feels like a bobblehead in pieces. It's a Maury Wills bobblehead doll, and it really wasn't packed great. So I apologize, but I'll give you a shout out. This is John Marama. It's a 2011 All-Star Game Cactus Maury Wills bobblehead. Well, it was, not anymore. And there you go. Your results may vary. Yep, that's not good. What else do we have? Oh, another patch here. Love the patches. Leachfield, Kentucky, I believe. That's John, 5'7", a plump 245. Suck it back row. Hate the chat row. Okay. Okay, that's Alan yelling at me. I interrupted Alan cooking our mahi. Somebody sent me a lot of fake money. Let's see. Hand out the millions to the Danettes. This is from Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. Got $1 million. Sort of. Here's another one. This is from Jay and Jeannie Kerner in St. Joseph's, Missouri. Well, I got to go back to work. All righty. I was opening up mail. And Penny, the house dog, getting a lot of treats. Penny getting a lot of love there. Yeah, McLovin.
Remember when fans used to send stuff to the Danettes? You know, us four guys?
Mm-hmm.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
Memorabilia.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a Maury Wills bobblehead doll. The problem is it used to be a bobblehead doll. It came in pieces there. But I do appreciate that. I do. I always appreciate people taking time there. Also sending in their patches. We have firefighters. We have Secret Service. We have police officers. So I have so many that I put on my desk. And then I had to start a cork wall over there with all the patches that we get sent in here. So please continue to do that. I love to fly the colors of those in service here. Our Discover Moment of the Week, it was Charles Barkley. He was on Tuesday, and I asked him if he would play in a charity match, and he said he would play in a charity match under one condition. Would you be playing?
If they ask me to play, dude, I'm not going to – listen, as long as I can drink and smoke when I play golf, I'm good. I'm going to have a couple – listen, I'm going to have some drinks and some stogies. I'm not going to be overly concerned about how good or bad I played. I mean, I don't think Tom Brady lost a lot of sleep because he was struggling on the front nine.
That's Charles Barkley on Tuesday. That's the Discover Card Moment of the Week. Get your free credit scorecard today. Even if you're not a Discover customer, it includes your FICO credit score. Checking your scorecard will not hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations do apply. I mentioned that a former New York Met farmhand, minor leaguer, Andrew Church, among the minor leaguers the Mets released on Thursday. He's a 25-year-old right-hander. He, I think, tore one of the ligaments in his arm, but he ripped into his now former organization. He said that 2013, he was a 2013 second-round pick, and he said about the Mets on Instagram that signing a celebrity, that has to be Tim Tebow, he blamed the organization for doing that. They made a mockery of our team by putting a celebrity on it to sell more tickets. Apparently a reference to Tebow, who was signed in 2016. I saw players lose their jobs because of it. We weren't playing to win. We were playing to make everyone else money, not the players. We never saw a cut. Well, allegedly, one player did. Tebow and Church were teammates. Class A St. Lucie for much of 2017. And so, not a good situation. A lot of minor leaguers out of their jobs here, by the way. The other thing, speaking of baseball, Scott Boras, agent to the Stars, Major League Baseball, he is an email that was received by the Associated Press from Scott Boras. He did not apparently send it to the Associated Press, but they somehow got it. Maybe he did send it. And he said, don't bail out the owners. Don't take pay cuts here. Here's the only thing that I would question Scott Boras about with that philosophy with his players. And he's got over 70 marquee players. Is there are owners who don't want the season to come back. Major League Baseball owners who don't want the season to come back. I think that's what Scott has to understand. I'm sure he does. He's a very bright man. But if you're saying to these players, hey, don't give them a break, don't bail out the owners, you might be bailing out the owners by not coming back. Because there's some owners that are going to look at this and say, I'm going to lose money here. I'm not the Yankees and I'm not the Dodgers. I'm going to lose money here. So I don't know what kind of progress we're going to have with this anytime soon, but the players are taking the risk here, and that should be noted and reminded. You know, people need to be reminded of that. The players are taking the risk, and there has to be a middle ground here to be fair to the players, to come back with the risk, and they're going to lose money, make it prorated. If you can get 100 games in there, and at least that's a starting point. Maybe you get 80 games here. But some baseball is better than no baseball. At least it feels that way. But with no fans in the stands, there will be owners who will not want the season to return. They don't want to spend this salary, and then they don't get any fans. They don't get any concessions. They're not getting any of that money there. But from what I'm told, there are owners who will not want to come back and play. Shane in North Carolina joins us. Hi, Shane. What do you have for me?
Hey, first-time caller. Love the show.
Thank you, Shane.
I was just going to commiserate on your minivan misery.
Okay.
20 years ago, I became a dad for the first time, one of the greatest things in my life. But I drove onto a car lot in a Nissan red 240 SX two-seater with a stick shift. Drove off the lot in a green Nissan Quest minivan with a built-in VHS player.
Yeah. Killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, I can relate to it. I remember when my wife sat me down and said, we got to get a minivan. Then I said, oh, no, it's over. Got to get a minivan. All right. Can't we get like a Jeep Cherokee? No, you got 4 kids. Come on. Can't they share a baby seat, car seat? Yeah, Paul.
Then we have to figure out today what's the best alternative. If you're a 33-year-old bro with a family out there, you don't want a minivan, you should get what?
Tom Brady's SUV.
A limousine.
Final hour coming up. Well, let's go from that viral moment to the picture,
Yeah.
the picture of the burnt toast that you carry
This is
in
a
your
good
wallet.
Yeah, Toastgate. This has been actually kind of fun because I've now been officially labeled as a weirdo. So there's something about that for some reason I kind of like. People think that I'm so predictable. But those who know me love to know that I love to have a little bit of fun. The whole toast thing is something that is done as the ultimate gag. I do like my toast well done. I'm not going to lie. I don't have to have it charred beyond recognition. I don't need dental records for my toast when it comes to the table. I do like it well done. So Lance Barrow, who's our producer out here for the NFL and for the Masters and all of our golf, we're on the road a lot together, and we always try to one-up one another when you're ordering breakfast about how severely toasted you want your bread. So that was kind of the impetus for me to eventually end up with a laminated picture of burnt toast in my wallet. And the fun part of it really is you put it in the hands of a server, and they look at you like you're just gone crazy. And they laugh. They take it back to the kitchen because you say, hey, just tell the chef something like this. And you're really just kind of having some fun with somebody at that time. Invariably, Dan, the chef comes out of the kitchen to see, okay, now who is this crazed person that's in our restaurant? And you say hello, and they bring the toast out just the way you like it. Makes perfect sense to me. What it has hit though, like this whole Toastgate is like all of a sudden everybody has an opinion about how they like the special order. Yeah. That's really what it is. It's just a derivative of how everybody today, when they sit down in a restaurant, they don't just order it the way it's on the menu. Everybody's got their own way of going about making a hamburger or having their steak prepared or what they want on the side. And okay, so I have a bit of a toast fetish, but really more than anything, it's done in jest.
Did you ever play in a Pro-Am where the amateur thought that he could beat you?
Regularly? Oh, yeah. Many a time.
Like they want to outdrive you, and then they think...
they outdrive you. They want that magic moment, which is fine, which is great. It becomes a dinner story. We do get some great stories. I mean, now you've gone on to that. I had this wonderful gentleman moons ago. I was up there in Flint, Michigan, I think, up there, and we went out, early morning, and this chap was about 80 years old. This is absolutely true as I see it. I got it. Now you've reminded me. So down the first, he can't, he takes an 8. He tops it, shanks it also. He takes about 8. So I thought, for once in my life, be nice to him, give him a lesson. So I said, can you get your weight over a little bit on your back? He says, well, I've had hip replacement done, and it's a little chilly this morning. I can't get the weight over. I said, all right, okay. I said, well, if you can't do that, then you've got to try and get your left shoulder a little bit round a bit more. And he honestly said, well, I've got a new titanium left shoulder put in. Honest. And so I said, it's a bit, you can't get, I said, all right. I said, well, an absolute must then is keep your eyes on the ball. He says, well, I picked up the wrong glasses this morning, and I've got the... So I said, apart from that, everything's okay. And he says, pardon? Honest.
Hey, cookie time. You got some treat. Come on, don't stretch. I don't have enough time. Come on, girl. Come here. I got it. Come here. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
He was so locked in. It was scary. One of the bright baseball minds that I worked with at the mothership, he's Steve Phillips, host of Leadoff Spot on MLB Network. What is the common ground that will allow us to be able to play baseball?
Prorated salaries at 100% will not get a deal done. The players are going to have to come off of that. And the owners are not going to get a 50-50 share of the losses with the players because they're taking physical risk. That has dollar value that needs to be acknowledged.
I can't wait for that first argument at home plate where the manager is about 6 or 7 feet away from the umpire. And I can't understand sometimes what he's saying.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Friday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. It's a meat Friday, but we have mahi-mahi on the Traeger. And it does smell good. Come on in, stay a while. You can watch on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. You can listen on our 362 radio affiliates around the country, including that formidable Fox Sports Radio lineup. Yesterday was a good day for soccer fans, both England's Premier League and Italy's Soccer League. They announced that they'll be coming back in June, and if you're not a soccer fan, but you're eager for American sports to return, it was also a good day. And I think when the Premiership comes back, it's going to be even bigger. Now, we have a foregone conclusion that Liverpool is going to win the championship. But I just think having live sports, the fact that I was watching the Bundesliga, I was listening to it on radio. Okay. The last 2 Saturdays, I'm listening to the Bundesliga. I might have been in German as well, but I was desperate to have some live sports at 9:30 in the morning. Every sport that comes back provides lessons, a game plan for other leagues to follow. You want to get the right people in the right place. You want to have complete safety. And you want to make a better television product, or at least as well as you can. And maybe there's fake crowd noise in it. I wasn't bothered with it when I was listening to soccer. I was not bothered with fake crowd noise. I was fine with it. Hopefully the different leagues in different continents communicate with one another. In England and Italy, soccer is such a huge part of the culture in both of those countries. It's not a surprise that they prioritized those leagues to come back. For a lot of us, our sports fill the same role here in the United States. We want them to come back. Hopefully we can appreciate them when they do come back and learn how to bring back sports in the best possible way. We'll talk to Rebecca Lowe, the great host of the Premiership on NBCSN. She'll join us coming up in about 15 minutes from now. Phone calls are welcome, 877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. McLovin, the poll question for the final hour is?
Well, the last hour has been, what format do you want for the NBA playoffs? So you could have 16 playoff teams as is, 20 teams with a play-in tournament, World Cup-style 20 teams, or try to play more regular season games than do a regular playoffs. 40% say go straight to the playoffs with 16 teams.
I don't know if you'll have scrimmages. Just to be fair to the players, that I want the product to be representative of these teams and these players and the league. I don't want it to come back. I don't want somebody to get hurt. I want to make sure that they're ready to play. I don't know how you ensure that. And if you do have scrimmages, if you can have, different teams that you're not going to be facing in the playoffs, that you could scrimmage with them, that might be beneficial. But I think we're going to find out a whole lot more by early next week with the NBA, with their plan. Having a conference call today, from what I'm told, and, they're starting to sort through this a little bit, and you're getting a little bit more of a clearer picture of what they're going to try to do here coming up in Orlando. I still thought Vegas and Orlando made the most sense, because if I'm going to have the Western Conference teams there, Eastern Conference teams in Orlando, I just want to cut down on the number of risks that are going to be in play here. I don't need to have all these teams. If we have 16 teams, 8 in each, West and East, I'm fine with that. If you want to try to shoehorn New Orleans and Zion Williamson in there, all right, fine. I just don't need to bring in 3 extra teams if we don't really need that. But, that's for the commissioner and the owners to try to sort through here. All right, so that's the poll question, McLovin, we're going to go with?
Yeah, unless you want to head a different direction.
No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Final hour here. I was talking about one of the former Mets farmhands who played with Tim Tebow in single A ball, I believe. He had some things to say. He was cut by the Mets. A lot of these minor leaguers are being cut, And, they're trying to wipe out some of these minor league franchises here. But one of the players called out the Mets for basically keeping a celebrity on the roster. And without saying Tim Tebow, he was saying Tim Tebow. Paulie brought up the numbers of whose stats would you want? Let's say I have two players, age 31, and these are the numbers. 202 batting average, 3 homers, 30 steals, on-base percentage of .289, a 163 batting average, 4 homers, 2 steals, on-base percentage of .240. Well, it seems like a foregone conclusion that the player you would want would be the first one, and that would be Michael Jordan at the age of 31. The other one is Tim Tebow at the age of 31.
Stats. All I really want is stats. In the morning, tired of stats. Cause the evenings are for girls. So who's with you? Stats, 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 suck it back, cool. Stats, stats, stats.
Feels like it's been a while.
I know. I haven't heard that in a while. Dusted that off. I like that. That's great. A couple of phone calls in here. By the way, we're looking at strength of schedule. Based on the original schedule, these would be the toughest remaining schedules of the playoff teams. The Wizards, Bulls. Well, the Bulls aren't a playoff team. Grizzlies.
Scratch that then.
Yeah, Pistons aren't. Nuggets are, and the Mavericks. All right. I guess is John Wall going to be able to come back for the Wizards in the postseason, McLevin?
Is that a thing?
I don't know. For some reason, I thought that I heard that yesterday. I read that where John Wall, is he ready to come back now? Because it's been a long time since John Wall got injured. Yeah, McLevin.
Is he going to be synonymous with bad contracts like the John Koncak or Bobby Bonilla? Like, will we talk more about how much he got paid or how good he was as a player at his peak?
Well, I think he's still a very good player. He's not my kind of player, but I do not. With him and Beal, there was a moment where they were a fascinating backcourt to watch because Wall was as fast as anybody in the sport, and you had Beal, who was a great outside shooter. These guys are all making this kind of money. You know, John Wall's not an outlier here, but he's going to be making $42 million a year soon. And that's just the start of it. Like, John Wall at some point is going to make close to $50 million. God. 2 years from now, John Wall is slated to make $47 million. You know, God love you. You know, if you can make that kind of money, I don't begrudge you. Take the money. But the criticism goes along with that. But there are going to be a lot of guys where you go, are you kidding me? You're going to make that kind of money? Who's the first $50 million a year player in the NBA? Yeah, McLevin.
So John Wall says he's 110%, but he's not going to return this season, according to the team.
Okay.
That's what they said, but these things have been changing. But 110%, he's too healthy, right? That's Paulie just said.
Too well, you don't want 110%. That's how cars burn out.
This is a confusing story. I'm 110%, but I'm still working on rehab and can't come back in.
See, it was always a bad thing when I gave 110%, which was rare. I always got hurt when I gave 110%. If I gave like 60%, I was good. But that 110%, damn, it caught up to me every time. Coach was like, oh, man, you're giving 110%. Oh, I better slow down a little bit. Yeah, Paul.
It's also tough for an athlete because if a coach says, hey, I want you to give 100% to the team, but don't try to do too much. Those don't work together. If you're going 100%, 110%, you're doing too much.
Yeah. John Wall. I guess Giannis would be the first $50 million a year guy. But I don't know whose contract is up. But if John Wall is, man, he's going to be making $47 million. You got Giannis's deal there, Paul?
Yeah, this upcoming season, Giannis is slated to make $27.5, and then he's a complete free agent.
Oh my God!
Yikes!
Who makes the most money in the NBA?
I'm gonna guess John Wall, maybe, but let's see.
If your favorite team could sign Mahomes or Giannis, two different sports. Is it a coin flip? Because they're both sure things.
Well, Mahomes has won a Super Bowl. He's won a title. So I'm getting them for the same price?
Pretty much, because Giannis will be making, a year and a half from now, he'll be making $45 million a year as his starting salary, probably.
Well, I'm going to get Mahomes for a lesser rate. Now, granted, less games.
I think in a year and a half, they'll each be the highest paid players in the history of their sports. I think that's a fair estimate.
Well, I'm not sure about the Greek Freak's supporting cast. I am sure about Mahomes' supporting cast. And if you said I'd rather have Mahomes with his team than I would the Greek Freak with his team. Now, you're saying I can get him on my team. Well, that's a little bit different.
Yeah, you basically the team you like, you add one of those players.
Yeah, well, I'd add the Greek Freak to the Lakers or the Clippers, and then it's over. But I'd just say, all right, put him on the Lakers here. Yeah, McLevin.
So I have Steph Curry number one at $40 million. Then basically a three-way tie with John Wall, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook at about $38 million. And Harden's at $38 million too.
Yeah. Well, that TV deal, it certainly came in handy.
LeBron's a bargain, 37.4. I don't know why he's there. I guess Supermax moved up.
Yeah, see.
Sources tell me LeBron's really insulted.
He wants out.
Yeah. He wants the respect.
Celebrity journalist Lowe Anthony, who claims to have spoken to a source with knowledge from someone close to Woods, says Tiger is struggling.
Claims to have spoken to. They can't even verify that she actually spoke to the source of the person with knowledge from someone close to Woods.
Play that again from Mary Hart on Entertainment Tonight and listen to the number, like
how many separations from the main person.
Yeah, if you're connecting the dots, there are quite a few dots here to connect.
Celebrity journalist Lowe Anthony, who claims to have spoken to a source with knowledge from someone close to Woods, says Tiger is struggling.
Claims to have spoken to a source. We're not even sure that she really did, but she says
she claims.
Did. She says she did.
Yeah. Don't you quote her correctly by saying she spoke to a source?
Why they don't know that she really spoke to the source.
I know, but
they're saying she thinks that she's saying she spoke to the source.
But I think Flo Anthony works for Entertainment Tonight.
Correct.
Yeah. So Flo Anthony claims.
Right. She claims that she spoke to her. We can't verify that she actually did, but she claims to have spoken to a source.
That's a hardcore vetting process.
That Tiger is struggling. That Tiger. All of that just to find out that Tiger is struggling.
Really? You think?
All right. Yeah, Paul.
The Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers, he's due to make $31.6 this year, but in the 2023-24 season, he'll make $50,750,000.
When does it come crashing down here? Are these sustainable? What happens when LeBron's gone from the game? Is there enough star power there? When Gretzky left the NHL, things changed. Because of Gretzky, you had hockey in the South. You had expansion. When LeBron goes, let's say in 5 years, what's the NBA look like? Now, you're going to have Zion in there. You have the Greek Freak. But who are those must-see stars that you'll tune in and watch? Because that's what the NBA is built on. You got to have those stars there. You're not watching John Wall. Damian Lillard's a wonderful player. I don't know if he's must-see TV to people. James Harden is still going to be fascinating. Greek Freak will still be in there. Steph Curry will be out of the league probably in 5 years. Zion will be must-see TV. You get LaMelo Ball coming into the NBA. Might be the first overall pick. I don't know if he's going to be must-see TV. James Wiseman, who was at Memphis for a cup of coffee, not must-see TV. Edwards out of Georgia, probably not must-see TV. Yeah, McLeod.
Did you say Trae Young? I know you're a Trae Young guy.
Trae Young would be, and Luka. Yeah,
Luka's pretty good. Yeah.
No, Luka's must-see TV, and so is Trae Young.
But you're saying they're not singular like LeBron or Jordan.
No. Hey, I'm just curious about that. When the next TV deal, what's that going to look like? Because that's when you started guys getting money where they probably had to go, you got to be kidding me. They're going to pay me that amount. Are you kidding me? Sign it quickly. Yeah, I'm club.
Didn't the ratings sort of go down because LeBron went to the West Coast time frame?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. A couple of phone calls here. George in Arizona. Hey, George, welcome to the program.
Hey, Dan, how are you today?
Great, George.
Boy, I'll tell you, you've taken almost every subject that I had, and you answer everything. It's just marvelous. Really, really, really well done. I'm left with only one thing, and it's for McLovin. All right?
Yep.
3 nights in a row, I watched Grant. I loved it. I thought it was fabulous. What does McLovin think?
All right. Well, thank you, George. Is this Ulysses S. Grant?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Hugh Grant documentary. Because I watched this rom-com where he owns a bookstore in Notting Hill. I can't remember what it's called, but Julia Roberts comes in.
Yeah. I think it's called Notting
Hill.
Notting Hill.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, isn't there a Grant doc out, by the way? I haven't seen it, but I appreciate that he thinks I would.
But didn't Ulysses S. Grant, his middle initial is not S?
Wow.
I don't think so.
Celebrity journalist Lowe Anthony.
I claim that I don't think Ulysses S. Grant middle initial is actually S. Yeah, Paul.
Dan, you'd be correct. Hiram Ulysses Grant, the first.
Yep. I'm gonna leave. That's a walk off.
Yeah, walk off.
Yeah, it's a walk. Well, no, we got the Traeger fired up there.
Stand by. I'm gonna look and see if I can find out why.
Yeah, Ulysses S. Grant. I think it was a typo. I think
That's a big one.
Big typo.
It's a big typo. Yeah.
You wouldn't correct that before you got the biggest office in the land? Like, hey, I'm gonna give my real name.
No, I think he likes it. Ulysses S. Like U.S. Us. I mean, come on,
for
red, white, and blue.
Political reasons.
Yes.
Oh, U.S.
Yes. Hello. I think there was a typo there somewhere. Sources close to me tell me.
What the heck?
We have to watch the miniseries now on History Channel.
All right. We'll take a break here. Rebecca Lowe will join us coming up. We'll talk about the Premiership coming back.
Hello, chaps.
Paulie does not have cologne on today.
Only because it's a Zoom call.
If she was here in person, would you have cologne on today?
All American men would.
Of course you would. 18 after the hour. We'll head to the pitch. That's after this on the Dan Patrick Show. You check things all the time. Email, Instagram. How about checking something as important as your credit? Discover makes it quick and easy. Best of all, it's free. Discover's now offering FICO credit scores. That's the score used by 90% of top lenders, and doing it for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit. You can check each month for changes. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. That's discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. If you stopped on the street, what's the first question that comes up?
When I am stopped on the street?
Yeah.
It depends demographically. Because Scrubs is on your TV all day, every day, Scrubs comes up, Office Space comes up, sometimes Set It Off comes up, The Rock comes up, Platoon comes up, Wall Street comes up. And so, and I'm fine with all that. I don't care. Of course.
But Office Space is one of those that, did you know what you had and then it became something?
No. It was a really good script. Mike Judge, who directed it and wrote it, sent these. It's the only way this audition's ever happened before. He sent these 30-second animated clips of the characters to you before you came in and
So they're
auditioned.
animated?
Yes. And so everyone that came in to read for Gary Cole's role, since the Bobs really weren't on the page much. And so everyone auditioned for Gary's role, Lumberg. And then you were sent on your way. And then they called back and said, "You want to play one of the Bobs?" And I said, "It's largely not on the page." And Mike said, "Well, you can do whatever you want." And I'm a big fan of that. And so I went down to Austin. I'd wardrobe Tuesday, it was shot Wednesday and Thursday, and I was wrapped and gone Friday. I was only shot that thing for 2 days. It's just that one interior where the interviews are,
Yeah.
and then once out on the floor. But mostly we got to pretty much just riff.
Paulie's got the quote.
We always quote you from Office Space. Like whenever we have an employee who's not really up to snuff, we always go, what would you say?
You say you do here.
You do here. It's the pause. The pause where you kind of lick your lips and you do here. I can't do you, but that's the one we always use.
The funniest thing about Office Space is that I went to the cast and crew screening, and it was hilarious, and people were laughing. And then Office Space was released back when people used to look in the newspaper at a full-page ad for what was playing down at the Cineplex Odeon.
Yeah.
And some genius in marketing covered the guy with the stapler in Post-its. Well, if you cover somebody in yellow Post-its, they look like Big Bird. So it looked like an R-rated Big Bird movie. So nobody went. It was a dog with fleas. It was tagged. Nice move.
Although I would go see an R-rated Big Bird movie, I think. Just to see what you could pull off
Nobody
there.
else.
Did you ever go drinking with Harry Carey?
Oh yeah. We called it. You could tell the look on a guy's face that had done it the next day because we called it the Harry Carey flu. You go out with him the night before, you're going to wake up the next day just feeling like crap. I mean, it's a lot like hanging with you, buddy.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, did you ever see the game show that? What was it called? It's Family Feud. Did you ever see the game show that Wally and I were on with that?
No.
You didn't?
I'll
you
look.
got to see it.
I'll take a gander at it.
It's on the game show channel. I mean, it's run every now and then. Here's Wally World. He's with the Angels. We're in L.A. We're filming this. I mean, he's the most popular guy, in the city. Well, anyway, Ozzie Smith and Joe Carter, we all do it. So anyway, Joe Carter goes. We win the first round against the umpires. It wasn't real hard, obviously, doing that. But Wally goes into the soundproof booth. And Joe Carter does really well. We get a lot of points. And the first question when Wally comes out, crowd going crazy. His wife Leslie and their 4 daughters right in the front row. And the first question asked to Wally was, out of 100 men surveyed, and who knows who these 100 men are, what is the most desirable age for a woman? And Wally goes, 21. Well, this obnoxious horn goes off. And I mean, everybody just kind of scared. Well, Joe Carter had used that number. It had already been used. Wally, try again. Well, Wally, in a total panic, goes 16.
Oh, no. I'm going to look at it.
The guy could not even ask another question. I mean, he takes the knee. Leslie grabs the 4 girls. They walk out.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Grilling season in full swing. Traeger wants to help you make this summer the tastiest one ever. Real wood-fired flavor, next-level versatility. Traeger Grills, the ultimate way to cook. Contact your local dealer. Visit TraegerGrills.com/DP show to get yours today. I dropped the bombshell about 10 minutes ago. I said Ulysses S Grant, that his middle initial was not S. I thought it was a typo, but Paulie, do you have an update on Ulysses S. Grant?
Yeah, according to multiple sources, his real birth name is Hiram Ulysses Grant, but he went by Ulysses as a child and growing up and in high school. When he applied to West Point on his application, a local politician wrote him a letter of recommendation, and he erroneously put, I recommend Ulysses S. Grant. S was his mother's maiden name, and somehow Simpson got onto the application. He never noticed it. He got into West Point. He was all happy about it, and he never really noticed it, Ulysses Grant. And when he graduated from West Point, it was on his graduation paperwork and his thing, and he tried to have it fixed, But he's like, this is more trouble than it's worth. And he just went by Ulysses S Grant from then on, even though there is no S whatsoever in his name.
And then there's a documentary or a series on Ulysses S. Grant.
It's called Where Did the S Come From? It's fantastic.
What the S are you doing?
Yeah.
History Channel, yeah.
Rebecca Lowe, NBC Sports Premier League host, and the Premier League is coming back on NBC Sports Wednesday, June 17th. She also hosts the new Breakfast with Bex digital series. It's always great to see and hear from Rebecca Lowe. Did we acquire you? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Dan, how I'm not, considering the amount of times you tried to get me to become one over the course of the last 7 years. I'm still not, but we are edging closer by the month to the day when I'm free to apply. So just hold your horses.
Okay, all right.
We'll get there.
Now, can I help speed it up? Because I know people. I got David Faraday. That was a great acquisition by the United States. We got David Faraday.
Whatever you can do to acquire me, Dan, I'm yours.
All right. I've heard that before. How is Teddy, your son?
Teddy is great. Would you believe, Dan, he turned 4 years old during lockdown, which is crazy because I was just talking to you in the wardrobe room. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. It sounds like yesterday with him in my belly. So he's good. He's back at school. His school's open. So that's great for him because we had him out for like 8 weeks, and obviously it's tough when you're little because all they care about is playgrounds, and they're full of yellow tape, or they were full of yellow tape. And that's all he cared about. When is the yellow tape coming down? When can I go back to school, see my friends? Because their little mental health is just as important as your and I mental health. So he is doing really well, much better now. He's back with his little pals.
I saw that you were hosting Breakfast with Bex, and I have to admit, I thought it was with David Beckham, and I tuned in and I went, where's Bex? And then I go, oh no, it's Rebecca Lowe. So I love seeing you. I'm not disappointed. It was a little bit of an adjustment there.
Dan, I'm disappointed, but to be quite honest, when you've got the same name as one of the most famous footballers in the world, I just use it. I've just got to use it to get those followers. I've got to get those viewers. And let's not get too excited about Breakfast with Bex. I feel like we're making this slightly bigger than it is. It's really just very, very lowbrow broadcasting. So let's just calm down about Breakfast with Bex.
Okay. All right. The fact that the Premier League is coming back, it's a foregone conclusion that Liverpool is winning. Is the Premier League coming back for Liverpool?
That's a great question, and that is a question that no one's asked me, which is amazing. No, it's not just coming back for Liverpool, because actually that's about the only foregone conclusion that there is, in that they're 6 points away, 2 victories at the most away from winning it for the first time in 30 years. So no, because that's going to happen. It's coming back for a myriad of reasons. First and foremost, to try and save not just the Premier League clubs, Dan, but as you know, because you know football so well, underneath the Premier League, there are 4 professional leagues. And then underneath them, there are about 5 semi-pro leagues, right? And it's a pyramid. And without the bottom of the pyramid, there is no top of the pyramid. So everyone needs to help each other. And the clubs below the Premier League are really struggling, really, really struggling. And they need money from the Premier League, and it all filters down. So the Premier League has to come back to try and help football stay alive in the UK. And football to us is like the NBA, MLB, and NFL, NHL, and MLS all mixed in together in the US. That's how big it is. So it's a huge announcement, and it'll have a huge impact on the country. As I know, it sounds very trivial to say, oh, it'll lift the nation, but it really will lift a huge portion of the nation being able to watch football on television again. And boy, will they be able to, because all 92 games for the first time ever, every single game, is going to be available to them.
What about crowd noise? I've mentioned a couple times on this show that I've actually listened to a little bit of the Bundesliga on radio, and the crowd noise helped the product. I wasn't offended where I go, it's fake noise. But what do you think is going to happen? What is NBC going to do with the Premier League?
Well, first of all, amazing pronunciation of Bundesliga. I mean, for somebody who is just a growing soccer fan, I just love that pronunciation. So
and it's Leicester City. It's not Leicester City. It's Leicester City.
Your team, isn't it? Isn't that? Oh no, that was Man City. Anyway, I digress. We are in conversation, but I think you're right. I actually have watched some of the games from the Bundesliga, and with that pumped in sound effects, I've enjoyed it much more because, Dan, it's kind of the familiar noise in your ear. So whether you're making your breakfast or you're playing with the kids, but you've got it on in the background, just having that noise, you don't have to watch every second of the game, but just knowing it's there is the familiarity that we're all craving. We're all craving familiarity. We're all craving our old life. So that, for me, sort of fills that hole. I know it's artificial, but it didn't bother me like it didn't bother you. So I think that could be certainly on the table. Watching football with nothing at all is jarring. We would get used to it, and that's okay. And people will get used to that as well, because it's quite interesting hearing the players talk. But hopefully, we haven't finalised our plans yet, Dan, because of course we're in partnership with Sky Sports. So we are sort of having constant meetings about it, and I'm not yet privy to those. But I would have thought, I hope there'll be maybe some sort of option.
What has happened to Manchester United the last 5 years?
You just love pinging out those big questions. They didn't plan. So they didn't, it's the last 7 years, they didn't plan. So when Sir Alex Ferguson retired, they didn't plan properly for a successor who could do what he did. And maybe the squad he left wasn't quite as strong as he made it look through his own immense, unprecedented talents. Therefore, anyone coming in is going to struggle, as Louis van Gaal did, as David Moyes did before him, as Jose Mourinho did. As a business, it's spent a lot of money that hasn't worked out. So there's a lot of disconnect between the fans, the board, the football side of things. But it is a humongous cruise ship, and it is just beginning to turn around. It is just, I feel, before lockdown, whether you're a fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager, or not, I'm personally not sure he's the future. But for right now, to start the cruise ship's turn, he's okay at the wheel for now.
She's Rebecca Lowe, NBC Sports Premier League host, and, of course, hosting the popular digital series Breakfast with Bex.
Stop it. Stop on the Breakfast with Bex, okay?
The biggest celebrity in the Premiership is who?
Wow. Probably Pep Guardiola.
Oh, so it's a coach or a manager at Manchester City.
I mean, I would say in terms of kind of status, yes, I would probably say Pep Guardiola is the absolute Hollywood glamour superstar. I mean, there's tons of superstars, but if you're talking the elite in terms, I would say Pep Guardiola. But you know, you've got Kevin De Bruyne, you've got Sergio Aguero. They're all massive names, Dan. I mean, virtually, I would say 70% of the Premier League are massive names. But Pep Guardiola has done it and done it over and over again. And he's done it in a way that no one's ever done it before in the style of football that he produces from his team. So right now, for me, I mean, it's faded a little bit with the emergence of Jurgen Klopp, who I spoke to this morning, actually, who's magic. So at the moment, there's the two managers, I would say, Klopp and Guardiola, yeah.
You know my favorite player?
Who?
Harry Kane!
People still talk to me about that interview when I was sitting there and you we were laughing about you.
I love Didier Drogba, but I'm more of now it's Harry Kane. Because they never say Kane. His name is always Harry Kane. Whenever he scores, Harry Kane!
We had this conversation though because it has more punch, doesn't it? You can say Aguero and just by itself is beautiful, but Kane, it just kind of like you've got to go Harry Kane, and he's just, and because we've talked about this before, he's a prince.
But also, it's like Tom Brady. It's right. Harry Kane, Tom Brady,
and they're really good friends. Did you know that?
They are.
They're really good friends because Harry's a huge New England Patriots fan, and I think that's who Tom Brady plays for.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore. I knew that. But they're super BFFs. So yeah, and Harry's a legend, and he's England captain. Everyone loves him. So
okay, I watched the documentary series on Sunderland Till I Die.
Oh, how good is that, Dan?
I thought it was brilliantly done, spectacular. Just the passion in that city and what that football team means to that city. You know, we talk about life and death. You know, we throw that around here in the United States. It felt like it's life and death for those fans and the importance. And then they kept getting relegated, and you could just see that it changed their lives. It was changing the city right before your very eyes.
And Dan, out of interest, is that at all comparative to anything in the US? I mean, were you surprised with how much that club runs through that city?
I don't think so, unless I looked at maybe the Philadelphia Eagles with their fan base and what that team means to them. And I'm sure Dallas, but Dallas, it's a little bit different. I mean, Sunderland is this, shipping city, and, it's not a wealthy city at all. They're really reliant on, the economy there and their football team. But I came away going, and I hate saying it, but I did say it. You don't have to be a soccer fan to love it, because it's really just about personalities, relationships, and the hopes and dreams that you have as a sports fan.
I think hope is the word. I mean, we all at the beginning of every season, as a football fan or as a sports fan, you just live in hope, don't you? It's all about, maybe this year will be my year. Maybe this year will be okay. Maybe we won't be rubbish this year. And Sunderland, as you say, kept falling down the divisions, and they were taken over by different people and who had their best interest in. And all the way through it, the common denominator is the fans. The same people, the taxi driver guy, the guy at home, drive, the same people going to the games, no matter who's in charge and no matter who's playing. And like you say, it affects their lives. And that documentary gives you an insight as to why it's so important that we get football back in the UK, because those people, and there are millions of them like those Sunderland fans, they're lost, Dan. They're lost by what's happening anyway, and they're lost by having the huge part of their life taken away from them. So, of course, it's a terrible time, and we would never forget that, and we must never forget that, and that will remain the constant theme now for a long time. But there's nothing wrong with being happy and joyful that something that means a huge amount to you is coming back into your life. I think that's okay. It's a tough balance, and we're going to have to strike it when I go back on air in a couple of weeks, of striking that balance between poignancy and sadness and what's going on in the world, and joy and excitement for something separate from that.
And once again, people make this mistake. West Ham, their nickname is not the Wankers. It's right. So,
oh my God, Dan.
Paulie always brings this up. He said, "You got to ask Rebecca."
That was their old nickname, Dan.
The Wankers, and I said,
guys, stop. You've got to I'm not going to come on your show if you continue to use that word. I've told you about that word. It's not even on television in England until after 10:30 at night, and even then, you won't even find it. It's horrendously rude, and it's just stop already.
Paulie, will you stop with that?
My bad.
Paulie,
stop saying wanker. All right.
Stop.
I had to remind him what he was saying, and he shouldn't be saying it. And I'm sick of that, Paulie.
My bad.
Everything's a joke when it comes to the Premier League.
It's a Liverpool. I'm all messed up.
Yeah, Paulie's Liverpool squad is going to win. Is there any chance that Liverpool doesn't win?
No.
Okay.
If it did, it would be literally the most incredible story of all time. Then we'll make a documentary out of that.
It's great to see you, and I hope Teddy's behaving, and we look forward to the Premier League returning to NBC Sports on Wednesday, June 17th. And, of course, the popular digital series Sweeping the Nation, Sweeping the World, Breakfast with Bex. It's David Beckham and Rebecca Lowe drinking Beck's beer. It's a whole lot of fun.
There you go. And you say the Premier League the same way as you've been saying it for the last 7 years. And that, Dan, the way you say that gives me great joy.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. That's Rebecca Lowe, NBC Sports Premier League. Yeah, Paulie, you keep doing that. You keep throwing that word out there, and I keep telling you can't use that.
I got to stop saying that.
Yeah, because that's just not fair to Rebecca Lowe. Hope you're happy. It's a Meat Friday with mahi-mahi on the trigger, so we'll...
Meat of the sea, as we're saying.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
But chicken of the sea is tuna.
Right. Fish is meat of the sea. That's how we shoehorn Meat Friday.
Why did we need to say chicken of the sea? Do you know how that started? Could you look that up? We needed to dress it up like when we were kids. Oh, I'm not going to eat that. It's the chicken of the sea.
There was already a deep dive into Ulysses S Grant and his fake middle name. I don't know if we can handle chicken of the sea.
In the final hour altogether? And Paulie using the W word? Yeah. Chicken of the sea. But didn't Jessica Simpson think it was actually chicken?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she thought they were buffalo wings. Like they were actually buffalo wings, I think. We'll take a break here. Last call for phone calls. What's in store for Monday, what we learned, all of that right after this of the Dan Patrick Show. Best John Elway story I haven't heard.
Best John Elway story you I don't know what stories you've heard or you haven't
Well,
heard.
give me one that you'll tell your grandkids.
Oh wow, my grandkids. I don't know. I don't know. I guess one story would be the first time that I was in a huddle with John Elway was I took a handoff from him, and I remember doing the preseason. I never practiced with John, and until the first week they announced that I was going to be the starter. That morning we walked out to practice, and I'm nervous as hell because John's in the huddle, and I have to try to earn his trust. And we get the first call was a run to the left, and I took off, and I remember John came back and he gave me the ball. I thought the ball was a little high, but I kind of bobbled it and I almost fumbled it. And so, we kind of had a botched exchange, and then I just, kind of gathered the ball and finished the run. And on my way back, I saw John talking to Gary Kubiak. And John walks back to the huddle, and Kub calls me over and said, "Hey, John says you need to give him a bigger pocket." And I'm thinking, I've already been messed up my chance of I've already messed this thing up, man. And so that was just, something that came back in, and obviously, things worked out. But I was kind of nervous that day, and I'm thinking, man, the man is so big that he's relaying messages through other people. He doesn't even want to talk to me. That's how big he was, man.
Did he ever yell at you?
Oh, yeah. He yelled at me one time when we were playing a game, and the game didn't really matter. It was the last game of the year against San Diego. This was in '96, and we'd already clinched everything. And we were only going to be in there for about a quarter. And it was a check down. I turned around, and John threw me the ball, and I dropped it, and he just yelled at me. And I was thinking, man, we're only playing a quarter, bro. Like this doesn't even count. But that just shows how intense he is, man. When he's on the field, he expects, perfection. He expects to play well. And, kind of got my thinking up and how I had to approach the game.
Mahi, a corn relish, and I think we had some aioli.
Sweet.
I love aioli.
But
nice aioli.
I'm
going to just dive into it.
Well, hold on, because things have changed since you guys haven't been here the last month and a half.
What do you mean?
Oh, wow. Guys who are here, they get to eat, and the guys who are working behind the scenes or they're not here, that's 12:15.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah. So,
are you trying to 12:15 us right now?
I was gonna. Yeah, I think that's 12:15.
You 12:15 us?
Feels like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel very nice.
Things have changed though around here.
Yeah.
What is it?
Some
aioli sauce. According to Dan, I don't know.
It's exciting.
It's a mahi.
You're going on the side in case?
Yeah, just in case.
I respect that. Keeping it real.
All in.
I'm gonna how they do at this restaurant? They give you like 4 drops.
Yeah.
It bothers me a lot.
Yeah. It's more decorative than. Oh, that's just nice.
Oh, wow.
It's lovely.
It's great.
You guys have missed a couple of really
bangers.
Yeah, really good ones.
What was the one? Those Italian beef sandwiches.
Yeah, those are great.
Those are the best. Yeah.
I really am not trying to rub it in. That was.
I am.
I've had that here before. That's one of Alan's best.
Man, he nails it.
Yeah.
See, I like the decorative.
The swizzle?
Yeah. If you're going to go to a great restaurant, I like that
your food had better come with a decorative swizzle.
Yeah. I mean, the food's going to be good. I need a little bit decorative swizzle.
To show a little more of the visual artistry.
I'd like to stay, and I got to go back in.
Oh. Well, I'll see you later.
Alrighty. See you Monday. It's really good. Close up the show. Send this out to the family of Chris Dufresne, longtime college football writer. Passed away this past week. Chris Dufresne covered college football for the LA Times and a frequent guest on the show, passing away suddenly this past week. So thoughts, prayers, sympathies go out to his wife and their 3 sons. All right, we'll close up shop here. Last call for phone calls, what we learned, what's in store for Monday. I saw where John Harbaugh says Lamar Jackson will hit more deep passes next season. He won the MVP by running 176 times. He threw just over 400 passes. 25 quarterbacks threw more passes than Lamar Jackson did last season. Now, the play action and that running ability that he has is going to keep the defense honest, and play action is going to make them pay. They drafted Dobbins out of Ohio State, so now you have 2 running backs there, and, of course, you have the threat of Lamar Jackson running. But John Harbaugh says the ability to make them pay for tilting their defense towards stopping our run game with a really, really efficient passing game, I do believe that's the next step of this offense. I really do believe Lamar is going to take the next step. This is something that Dak Prescott had to do. And when Kellen Moore came in, I was told you'll see more passes down the field. Now, they were a run-first team because you had Ezekiel Elliott. He had a couple of great years. You have a great offensive line. And then it became, if the team is going to get better, Dak Prescott has to improve by throwing the ball down the field. That'll be the same with Lamar Jackson. You get those defenses starting to creep up a little bit, then all of a sudden you got a couple of good tight ends, you got a couple of good dangerous wideouts here, and now Lamar Jackson can make this offense something different than anything we've ever seen before. Yeah, McLovin.
You got to cut the top off the muffin, right?
Something like that. Something like that.
Is that a real expression? Or
I'm going to guess with the NFL personnel people, the scouts, they love to have something. They like to have their own language. And then when you go, well, wait, what's that? Cut the muffin off. A-gap responsibility and all those things where you're going, hey, he plays well in space.
Wouldn't a 5 technique by definition be better than a 3 technique?
I have no idea. I think it's, hand in the dirt. When he puts his hand in the dirt there. Let me see. Rob in Ohio joins us. Rob, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got my shirt, my Fritzy Let's Get Ready to Ramble shirt in the mail, and I'm looking right at it. And it's kind of bittersweet because I know Fritzy's trying to avoid, going back out one last time. And, I provide some incentive because I wrote his opening line joke for him if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah, sure. Here's Rob in Ohio with Fritzy's new opening line joke.
Well, I got some context from your show, actually, and I thought I'd go something like this. I go, hey, I was doing from the start. I'm playing uphill battle here, and the industry just doesn't like good-looking people.
The sound quality wasn't very good there, Rob, which just like the joke maybe wasn't. Sound quality wasn't good. Brian in Texas joining us on the program. Hi, Brian.
Hey, bud.
Yep.
Hey, just a quick comment or question and then a comment. But before I get to that, I wanted to speak on behalf of DP Nation, say we really appreciate all that you guys do for us every day. And the archive at the break is really cool as well. My quick question is, when is Fritzy going to make his way back to the man cave? And then my comment is, when you were talking to your wife about getting the Jeep Grand Cherokee over the minivan, well, I had it in reverse. My wife had the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and then we wound up getting Chrysler Town and Country. Awesome.
Yeah. If you're a parent and you have 2 kids or more, then you know that minivan conversation is coming up. Fritzy is going to come in when he feels comfortable. I left that up to the Danettes when Seton and McLovin were comfortable coming back in. Paulie has been here from day one, but Fritzy hopefully will be here soon, maybe next week. But I leave it up to the individuals here. Even the guys in the back as well. There were a couple of them that said, can I work from home? And I said, absolutely. We wanted Mario at home, I think. I didn't ask him for him to come back. He showed up, and I went, what are you doing? He goes, wait, you don't want me back? And I go, no, I welcome you back. Although Chat Row doesn't want you back. I want you back, Mario. Jesse in Los Angeles. Hey, Jess, what do you have for me today?
Hey, DP.
Hey, Ben.
Great show today. 5'10" and a Mickelson-esque tasty little morsel, 173. Question and comment, if that's okay. The question relates back to Matt LaFleur interview clip from the first hour. It pretty much sums up the Packers draft. I think a more fitting music choice would probably been the Fritzy Mock Headlines music on Full Blast. And do you think that they had it doctored to us Packers fans, to distract us from how bad the draft actually was?
Well, I just didn't understand. You get an H back and then you get a full back. Those don't sound like priorities unless you're changing your priorities. And you can't tell me Jordan Love fell in your lap when you traded up to get him. If you want to say, and look, I'm not a Packer fan per se, but if I'm a Packer fan and I hear my coach or GM say, look, we really liked Jordan Love and we knew that another team was going to go up and get him. And we think that much of him. We didn't like to move up, but we felt like we needed to move up to keep him from going to the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, at least I think you're being honest with people instead of saying, hey, look, he fell in our lap. He was the highest guy on our board. Okay. And then you say you want more explosive plays this upcoming season. You weren't an explosive offense at all. But you didn't help your offense from the point of getting explosive players. You got an H-back, a backup quarterback, and a fullback. Things that you needed, maybe a wideout, a CD Lamb if you were trading up to get somebody. Now, I love CD Lamb, so I'm preferential to him. But if you're going to put yourself in a position where you mirror the 49ers, then why didn't you get somebody to help you stop the run? Because that's what San Francisco did and dominated you both times you played. I don't know if you made yourself any better to compete against the Niners. If that's who you're viewing as your chief competition here, I don't know if you made yourself any better. And I paid all this money to Aaron Rodgers, and now all of a sudden, now he's on the clock of how long is he going to be there? And I don't think he retires as a Green Bay Packer. I just didn't understand the contract extension. Then you're going to change your offense. Then you're going to draft the guy who's going to succeed him. I just didn't understand that. Aaron Rodgers fell into the Packers' lap, truly fell into their lap at the end of the first round. And they took him. And I understood it at the time. Fritzy, what did you learn today?
Rebecca Lowe would ask that you stop using the word wanker while she's a guest on the program.
You didn't have to use it.
I didn't. Snuck that in there.
McLovin?
Harry Kane and Tom Brady are good buddies.
Harry Kane. Seton O'Connor.
Tom's Escalade might be a little overpriced.
I think so. Paulie?
Chicken of the Sea started in 1932 as a way to market tuna to people.
Why wasn't just tuna good enough? Chicken of the Sea?
It worked. They said it's one of the most powerful brand campaigns of all time.
What did I learn today, Todd?
In the last 104 NFL situations, the onside kicking team has won 0 times.
LegalZoom makes it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today with the right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. Need to make it legal, make it LegalZoom.com. Have a safe weekend, everybody. Talk to you Monday here on The Dan Patrick Show.